कम होगा नहीं, नंबर पॉइंट नहीं।
कमिंग, मतलब कोई भी फैक्टर निकाल लो।
हाँ हाँ
हाँ, वॉइस आ रही है, अभी चेक कर लो। मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, हम लोग सॉल्यूशंस के लिए आ गए हैं। इंजीनियरिंग सर्विसेज का जो प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम कंडक्ट हुआ है मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग, हम लोग सॉल्यूशंस के साथ, और मैं हूं अमित कक्कड़। सबसे पहले बच्चों हम लोग स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं अपना सॉल्यूशन हीट ट्रांसफर से। हीट ट्रांसफर के बाद हम लोग आएंगे थ्योरी ऑफ मशीन पे, और सीक्वेंस में इसी तरह से हम लोगों की चीजें आगे बढ़ेंगी एंड यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू अंडरस्टैंड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग। उसके साथ मैं आपको अनाउंस करूंगा थोड़ी देर में, ये भी बताऊंगा जैसे से आगे सेशन बढ़ेगा कि हम लोगों का कन्वेंशनल प्रैक्टिस प्रोग्राम बैच कब से स्टार्ट होने वाला है। जो बच्चे इंजीनियरिंग सर्विसेज के मेंस पेपर के लिए आगे तैयारी करेंगे, या जो बच्चे अभी अपनी तैयारी को और फुल प्रूफ करना चाहते हैं कि नहीं इस बार नहीं अगली बार हमें फोड़ के दिखाना है, वो भी उन बैचेस के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहेंगे। राइट, तो चलो बच्चों हम लोग हीट ट्रांसफर के क्वेश्चन में आ रहे हैं। सो दिस इज द क्वेश्चन नंबर 49। ये हमारा क्वेश्चन नंबर 49 है, बहुत ध्यान से देखें। एट द सरफेस ऑफ एन इलेक्ट्रिक हीटर द हीट फ्लक्स क्यू, देखिए इन्होंने हीट फ्लक्स दिया हुआ है 5000 वाट पर मीटर स्क्वायर। 5000 वाट पर मीटर स्क्वायर। द हीटर टेम्परेचर इज 130 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड व्हेन इट इज कूल्ड बाय एयर एट 50 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड। ओके, व्हाट इज द हीटर टेम्परेचर if the power is reduced so that the heat flux is 2500 watt per meter square। बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है बच्चों, बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, बहुत सिंपल सी बात है कि हीटर का सरफेस टेम्परेचर 130 दे रखा है। ओके, तो हम लोग एक बात करते हैं कि ये हीटर है, राइट, इसका सरफेस टेम्परेचर Ts है, राइट। बाहर हमारा क्या है, फ्लूइड है, जहां पर हीट ट्रांसफर कोएफिशिएंट H और टेम्परेचर T इन्फिनिटी है, और यहां पर कुछ फ्लक्स आ रहा है, इस पे कुछ फ्लक्स की एंट्री हो रही है, राइट। ये Q डबल प्राइम का फ्लक्स है। तो सिंपल न्यूटन लॉ ऑफ कूलिंग, क्योंकि यहां से जो भी हो रहा है वो कन्वेक्शन हो रहा है, राइट। अगर हम इसका एरिया A अज्यूम करते हैं तो सिंपल सी बात है कि Q डबल प्राइम जो होगा वो क्या होगा, HA PS माइनस T इन्फिनिटी, PS माइनस T इन्फिनिटी। नाउ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दिस कि जो हमारा TS की वैल्यू है, अब यहां पर थोड़ा ध्यान से देखेंगे आप, T इन्फिनिटी जो बाहर एयर का टेम्परेचर दे रखा है 50 दे रखा है। तो अब दो कंडीशंस है बच्चों, पहले फ्लक्स इनका क्या था 5000, अब फ्लक्स को रिड्यूस कर दिया है 2500। तो हम यहीं से इसकी इक्वेशन बना सकते हैं कि Q1 डबल प्राइम अपॉन Q2 डबल प्राइम इज HA PS1 माइनस T इन्फिनिटी, अगर यहां टेम्परेचर TS1 था, अपॉन HA दिस इज TS2 माइनस T इन्फिनिटी, राइट। यहां से बच्चों ये HA कैंसिल हो गया, दिस इज 5000 डिवाइड बाय 2500 इज इक्वल टू, पहले टेम्परेचर जो हमारा सरफेस टेम्परेचर था वो क्या था 130, माइनस बाहर एयर का टेम्परेचर क्या था 50, डिवाइडेड बाय नया सरफेस टेम्परेचर हमें TS2 माइनस एयर का टेम्परेचर 50। यहां से हमें TS2 निकालना है, तो फ्रॉम हियर दिस TS2 विल कम आउट टू बी, हम लोगों ने सोल्यूशन को सॉल्व किया हुआ है, दैट इज कमिंग आउट टू बी 90 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, राइट। तो अगर हम देखें तो यहां पर जो हमारा आंसर है बच्चों, तो वो आंसर हम लोगों का ये आता है, दिस इज 90, डी आंसर। तो दिस आंसर इज डी। सो आई होप माय डियर सभी बच्चों को ये पॉइंट बिल्कुल अच्छे से समझ में आया होगा। चलिए हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, फॉर रियल बॉडीज इमिसिविटी, इमिटेंस मींस इमिसिविटी, एंड द मोनोक्रोमेटिक इमिसिविटी का मतलब होता है स्पेक्ट्रल, जो एक लैम्डा को फोकस करती है। देखिए रियल बॉडी की बात हो रही है, ब्लैक बॉडी के लिए सारी इमिसिविटीज 1 होती है, रियल बॉडी के लिए जितनी भी इमिसिविटीज होंगी वो 1 से कम होंगी। तो ये एप्सिलॉन भी 1 से कम होगा, एप्सिलॉन लैम्डा भी 1 से कम होगा। तो इसका जो आंसर है बच्चों वो क्या है, सी आंसर है। So that's a beautiful point, my dear. चलिए हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। Now the next question, which of the following represents the laminar flow with respect to Rayleigh number? Rayleigh number नेचुरल कन्वेक्शन में होता है, और आप लोगों ने फ्लैट प्लेट के लिए पढ़ा भी है। Rayleigh नंबर की वैल्यू 10⁹ से कम होनी चाहिए लैमिनार, अगर वो 10⁹ को क्रॉस कर जाती है, Rayleigh नंबर इज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ ग्रेशॉफ नंबर एंड प्रांटल नंबर। Rayleigh नंबर इज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ ग्रेशॉफ नंबर एंड प्रांटल नंबर, राइट। अगर वो 10⁹ को क्रॉस कर जाता है तो फ्लो टर्बुलेंट हो जाता है। तो यहां पर जो ऑप्शन आपको दिख रहा है वो 10⁵ से कम होने वाला यही ऑप्शन दिख रहा है। सो दिस इज द आंसर। तो इसका जो आंसर है वो हम लोगों का क्या है, 10⁴ टू 10⁹ की रेंज में Rayleigh नंबर होना चाहिए। Rayleigh नंबर इज डिफाइंड एज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ ग्रेशॉफ नंबर एंड प्रांटल नंबर। चलिए अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। अ वायर इज सबमर्ज्ड हॉरिजॉन्टली इन वाटर एट 5 बार विद अ सैचुरेशन टेम्परेचर ऑफ 150। ये पानी का टेम्परेचर है बच्चों, राइट, पानी का ये प्रेशर दे रखा है। ओके, द वायर लेंथ इज 250 मिलीमीटर एंड द डायमीटर इज 2 मिलीमीटर। वायर की लेंथ भी दे रखी है और डायमीटर भी दे रखा है। इफ द वायर कैरीज अ करंट ऑफ 100 एम्पियर विद एन अप्लाइड वोल्टेज ऑफ दिस, तो इससे हम सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे, वायर का रेजिस्टेंस निकाल लेंगे। ध्यान से सुनना, जो ओम्स लॉ क्या कहता है कि V इज इक्वल टू I इंटू आर इलेक्ट्रिकल। तो V कितना दे रखा है 2.5, करंट कितनी दे रखी है 100 एम्पियर इंटू जो R इलेक्ट्रिकल। तो यहां से बच्चों जो R इलेक्ट्रिकल रेजिस्टेंस जो हमारा आया वो 2.5 डिवाइड बाय 100 आया। अब बच्चों अगर वायर में करंट फ्लो हो रही है तो वायर में हीट का क्या होगा, लॉस होगा, और वही हीट बाहर आएगी। तो बच्चों वायर का जो हीट का लॉस होगा वही हीट ट्रांसफर होगा, वो Q कितना होगा I स्क्वायर इंटू आर इलेक्ट्रिकल। आपको मालूम है ये वायर में जो हीटिंग होती है दैट इज I स्क्वायर इंटू आर इलेक्ट्रिकल। I कितना दे रखा है बच्चों, I करंट दे रखा है 100, सो इट इज 100 स्क्वायर इंटू 2.5 डिवाइड बाय 100। ये आर इलेक्ट्रिकल ये कैंसिल हो गया, सो दिस इज 250 वॉट। तो बच्चों हम लोगों को पता लग गया कि इतनी वायर से एनर्जी निकल रही है। अब वायर के बाहर क्या है, वायर एक सिलिंड्रिकल वायर है, उसके बाहर क्या है बच्चों, उसके बाहर हमारा वाटर है 150 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड है। वायर का सरफेस टेम्परेचर कितना है 200 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड है। तो सिंपल सी बात है, वायर का सरफेस एरिया जहां से कन्वेक्शन होगा वो क्या होगा पाई dl। तो सिंपल सी बात है Q इज इक्वल टू Q, क्योंकि कन्वेक्शन हो रहा था ऐसे, H इंटू पाई dl मल्टीप्लाइड बाई Ts माइनस T इंफिनिटी। तो H कितना है बच्चों, H तो निकालना है हम लोगों को, इंटू पाई इंटू डायमीटर, डायमीटर कितना दे रखा है 2 मिलीमीटर, तो इसको 1000 से डिवाइड कर दीजिए, मीटर आ जाएगा, इंटू लेंथ कितनी दे रखी है बच्चों बाहर की, लेंथ दे रखी है हमको 250 मिलीमीटर, इसको भी 1000 से डिवाइड कर दीजिए, राइट। दिस इंटू Ts माइनस T इंफिनिटी, Ts कितना है बाहर का 200 माइनस T इंफिनिटी कितना है 150। बच्चों जब यहां से इस पूरी इक्वेशन में, और Q की वैल्यू कितनी है 250, Q इज बेसिकली 250, Q हमारा क्या है 250, तो जब 250 को हम इससे इक्वेट करेंगे यहां से हमारी H की वैल्यू निकल के आएगी, राइट। एंड दिस H कम्स आउट टू बी, लेट मी टेल यू कि यहां से जो आपका H आ रहा है वो H किसके इक्वल आ रहा है, H इज कमिंग आउट टू बी 10,000 डिवाइडेड बाय पाई, इट इज 10,000 डिवाइडेड बाय पाई वॉट पर मीटर स्क्वायर डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड। सो दिस इज द आंसर, 10,000 डिवाइडेड बाय पाई कौन सा आंसर है सी। सो दिस इज द आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन। क्योंकि वायर का सरफेस है ना, इस सरफेस के बाहर कन्वेक्शन हो रहा है, तो सिंपल न्यूटन्स लॉ ऑफ कूलिंग लगाएंगे हम लोग, HA डेल्टा T, वही हम लोगों ने किया, Q यहां से निकाल लिया था, HA डेल्टा T से इक्वेट कर दिया, वेरी सिंपली हमारी H की वैल्यू निकल के आ गई, राइट। हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। फाउलिंग इनसाइड द पाइप ऑफ अ हीट एक्सचेंजर, दिस इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 53। अगर हम लोग ध्यान से देखें तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 53 है, इनसाइड द पाइप ऑफ अ हीट एक्सचेंजर इंक्रीजेस विद Which of the following fluid property, वेरी सिंपल है, टेम्परेचर जब इंक्रीज होता है तो प्रेसिपिटेशंस होने शुरू हो जाते हैं, वो फाउलिंग के मेन रीजन बनते हैं। इंक्रीज इन टेम्परेचर एंड डिक्रीज इन वेलोसिटी, वेलोसिटी जितनी कम होती है बच्चों उतना हमारा वहां पर जो शेयर एक्शन से चीजों का डिपोजिशन है वो इजी हो जाता है। सिंपल सी बात है, वेलोसिटी कम होगी तो डिपॉजिट्स ज्यादा होंगे, तो फाउलिंग है। तो इंक्रीज इन टेम्परेचर एंड डिक्रीज इन वेलोसिटी, सो दिस इज द रीजन, दिस इज द आंसर, बी ऑप्शन है बच्चों, जिससे हमारी फाउलिंग इंक्रीज होती है। अ पिरामिड हैविंग अ स्क्वायर बेस एन आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगल साइड सरफेसेस, वेरी नाइस। अब ये देखिए, ये हमारा पिरामिड है जिसका बेस क्या है, जिसका बेस हमारा क्या है बच्चों स्क्वायर है, राइट। सपोज दिस इज 1, और ये हमारे बाकी के जो लेटरल सरफेसेस हैं वो 2, 3, 4, 5, राइट, वो बाकी के सरफेसेस हैं, स्क्वायर बेस है। तो अगर हम देखेंगे तो 1 से बाकी जितनी भी आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगुलर फेसेस आ रहे हैं वो सिमेट्री रूल को फॉलो कर रहे हैं। तो बाय सिमेट्री रूल, हमारा सिमेट्री रूल क्या कहता है कि F से 2 का शेप फैक्टर 1 से 2 का, 1 से 3 का, 1 से 4 का और 1 से 5 का सेम होना चाहिए। अच्छा, 1 फ्लैट सरफेस तो 1 1 0 होगा। अब अगर हम समेशन रूल लगाएं 1 पे, समेशन रूल हमारा क्या कहता है बच्चों, F11 प्लस F12 प्लस F13 प्लस F14 प्लस F15 इक्वल टू 1। F11 हमारा 0 है और ये चारों शेप फैक्टर सेम है और इन सबका सम 1 है, तो इसका मतलब ऑल शेप फैक्टर्स F12, F13, F14, F15 ये सब सेम है और इनका सम 1 है, तो ये 0.5 हो जाते हैं, 25। भाई चारों शेप फैक्टर हमारे सेम है सिमेट्री रूल से और इनका सम भी 1 आ रहा है, तो इसका मतलब एवरी ईच शेप फैक्टर विल बी 0.25। तो इसमें अगर हम आंसर देखें तो ये हमारा आंसर है डी, ये हमारा आंसर इसका आ जाता है। दीज ऑल शेप फैक्टर्स विल बी 0.25। चलिए हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। A thermal contact conductance of this was measured at the interface of 1 centimeter thick aluminum plates। वेरी नाइस, ध्यान रखिएगा कंडक्टेंस दिया हुआ है और वो भी एरिया के साथ दिया हुआ है, जबकि आपको मालूम है थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस की यूनिट क्या होती है? थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस की यूनिट होती है वॉट पर डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड और वॉट पर केल्विन, जबकि वॉट पर मीटर स्क्वायर डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड। पहले तो उसको उल्टा करिए, क्योंकि कंडक्टेंस है, इसको रेसिप्रोकल करेंगे तो ये ऊपर चला जाएगा, तो यहां से जो थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस आएगा बच्चों वो आएगा 10,000 को मुझे डिवाइड करना है, ठीक है ना, उल्टा करना है, तो 1 अपॉन, अगर हम इसको यहां पर एरिया देखेंगे तो यहां थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस की वैल्यू जो निकल के आती है मीटर स्क्वायर, 10,000 एरिया करेंगे तो उसको उल्टा करेंगे, तो 1 अपॉन 10,000 एरिया। देखिए बिल्कुल ध्यान से समझिएगा, थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस की यूनिट जो होती है वो क्या होती है? डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड पर वॉट। थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस आप जानते हो Q इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा टी बाई Q इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा टी बाई थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस। तो डेल्टा टी क्या हो जाएगा? डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड या केल्विन, किसी में भी लिख सकते हैं, पर वॉट ये होती है, लेकिन इन्होंने उल्टा दे रखा है वॉट पर, और मीटर स्क्वायर भी आ रहा है, तो एरिया को भी हटाना है मुझे, तो पहले तो उसको एरिया से मल्टीप्लाई कर दीजिए और उसके बाद डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड पर वॉट के लिए इसको रेसिप्रोकल, इसीलिए उन्होंने क्या लिखा है? कंडक्टेंस, बट वी हैव टू राइट द रेजिस्टेंस, तो रेसिप्रोकल ऑफ दैट। ओके, कंडक्टिविटी गिवन है, उससे बोला व्हाट विल बी द थिकनेस ऑफ द एल्यूमिनियम प्लेट हुज थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस इज इक्वल टू द थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस ऑफ द इंटरफेस बिटवीन द प्लेट्स। तो हमने थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस निकाल दिया इंटरफेस का, तो अब इसकी वो कह रहा है किस इक्वल हो जाए थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस L अपॉन के A के, तो वो हमसे क्या पूछ रहा है? उस L की वैल्यू पूछ रहा है, अपॉन 1/10,000 इंटू A, ये कैंसिल हो गया, तो यहां से L अपॉन के कितना है? 237 इज 1 अपॉन 10,000। तो बच्चों यहां से L की वैल्यू आ जाएगी 237 डिवाइड बाय 10,000 एंड दिस विल कम आउट टू बी, लेट मी टेल यू, ये वैल्यू हम लोगों ने निकाली है, ये वैल्यू निकल के हम लोगों की आती है 0.0237 मीटर, 0.0237 मीटर, या हम लोग लिख सकते हैं 2.37 सेंटीमीटर। तो बच्चों 2.37 सेंटीमीटर इज द ऑप्शन बी, तो दिस इज द आंसर, राइट। चलिए हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं। हीट ट्रांसफर बच्चों हम लोगों का यहां फिनिश हो जाता है। नाउ वी आर कमिंग टू द थ्योरी ऑफ मशीन्स, सो लेट मी वेट, रविंदर सर विल आल्सो कम, ही विल आल्सो ज्वाइन एंड वी विल बी हैविंग थ्योरी ऑफ मशीन्स नाउ, राइट। Right, me and Ravinder sir.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Is it audible? Is it? No, sir, it's not live. Am I audible? Okay. Hi everyone. So we'll start with theory of machine.
Yes. First question is coming out to be the engine in which the combination of a 3 opposed piston engines with 3 crankshafts interlinked to one another. This is the basically question corresponding to IC engine as well. So but anyway जिसका जो आंसर होता है वो डेल्टा टाइप इंजन होता है बच्चों. So this is basically a delta type engine. This is question number 56, right? क्योंकि इसमें the point is this with 3 different crankshafts. So crankshaft भी 3 होनी है. So it is the answer is delta type engine. So this is the answer. We are coming to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding forced vibration. बच्चों थोड़ा ध्यान से देखिएगा. Forced vibration is generally caused by some periodic applied forces present in the machine tool such as the to form a gear drive. Okay, gear is rotating, तो rotation से जो unbalanced force आता है periodic होता है. This option is correct. Okay, the amplitude of vibration can be increased by increasing the stiffness or by damping. गलत हो जाता है बच्चों. जितना भी stiffness बढ़ेगा और damping बढ़ेगा, amplitude कहीं ना कहीं suffer करेगा. थर्ड आता है द बेसिक सोल्यूशन टू फोर्स वाइब्रेशन इज टू आइसोलेट और रिमूव द फोर्सिंग एलिमेंट. दैट्स व्हाई आपको मालूम है फोर्स वाइब्रेशन का जो बेसिक सोल्यूशन है वो पर्टिकुलर इंटीग्रल से आता है और दैट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स इज ओनली बाय फोर्सिंग एलिमेंट. तो अगर उसी को हम आइसोलेट कर दें या रिमूव कर दें तो हमारा चीजें फोर्स वाइब्रेशन को हम सॉल्व कर सकते हैं, खत्म कर सकते हैं. बेसिक सोल्यूशन का मतलब उसको फिनिश कर सकते हैं. तो 1 and 3 विल बी द राइट आंसर. सो 1 and 3 विल बी द सी ऑप्शन. द राइट आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन इज सी, दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 105, राइट. चलिए हम लोग अगले क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं.
Okay, so next is question number, sir, 106.
Yes.
Yeah, consider the following statements regarding forces acting on the mass attached to a helical spring suspended from a fixed support with no damping, subjected to an oscillating force. Okay. So this is your system. There is this F, which is harmonic force, and there is this spring, let's say stiffness K and mass M. You can understand that the mass will experience certainly the impressed exciting or oscillating force. The mass experiences inertia force. This is where some ambiguity may crept in. Like you may feel that as in the equation of damped vibration or natural vibration, you may find the inertia force, but that's an approach where you bring the pseudo force, but your mass will never experience this pseudo force. So do remember this, that mass will not experience this pseudo force.
ये बात ध्यान रखिएगा बच्चों की, ये जो आपका इनर्शिया फोर्स होता है जो आप डीएलएम्बर्ट प्रिंसिपल में लगाते हो, दिस इज अ सूडो फोर्स टेक्निक, तो ये रियल फोर्स नहीं है, तो ये मास एक्सपीरियंस इसको नहीं करेगा. हाँ, इसको जरूर करेगा.
And the third one is mass experiences restoring force. Yes, you know, the force which is coming from the spring will be the restoring force. So the answer that we
1 and 3 both are correct.
Yes.
1 and 3.
So the B would be the right answer, but here I'm making sure that, see, examiner may come up with the answer as 1, 2, 3. Please be ready for it, because you need to understand the, you know, intention of an examiner. Somebody might be inferring it from the equation that is coming. So in the equation, this would experience, the mass would experience inertia force as well as the spring force as well as the, you know, this oscillating or unbalanced force. So examiner may come up with the answer 1, 2 and 3, but then we're gonna challenge it. So as of now, we feel that the right answer would be B.
Okay, we are coming to the next question. A refrigerator unit of mass 35 kg is to be supported on 3 springs, each having a same spring stiffness. Very nice. अब अगर मान लीजिए स्प्रिंग की स्टिफनेस बच्चों S है और 3 स्प्रिंग्स लगी हैं, तो इक्विवेलेंट स्टिफनेस क्या हो जाएगी? 3S हो जाएगी, राइट? बिकॉज ऑल 3 आर कनेक्टेड इनटू पैरेलल. उसी के ऊपर रेफ्रिजरेटर को लोड किया गया. ऑल 3 आर कनेक्टेड इनटू पैरेलल. ओके, एंड द नेचुरल सर्कुलर फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द वाइब्रेशन इज 15.15 रेडियन पर सेकंड. आपको मालूम है क्या होता है? नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी जो होती है 15.15 क्या गिवन है बच्चों? 15.15 is equal to under root of equivalent stiffness is 3S divided by M. Mass is 35. तो क्या पूछा गया? The stiffness of each spring is S ना? तो यहां से जब हम S की वैल्यू निकालेंगे, so this S value is coming out to be
2.7 Newton per millimeter.
Yeah, the right answer आप उसके closest sit करोगे, the right answer will be 2.677 Newton per millimeter, right? क्योंकि न्यूटन पर मीटर में 2677 पॉइंट समथिंग आएगा. सो द राइट आंसर इज हियर. सो दिस इज द आंसर.
So the next question, consider the following statements regarding whirling of a shaft. The bending of the shaft depends upon the eccentricity of the center of mass of the rotor, and as also actually here it should be and also upon the speed at which the shaft rotates. Yes, of course, the unbalanced force depends upon the eccentricity as well as on the square of the speed. So first option is right. The second is whirling speed is the speed at which shaft does not vibrate at all. I guess it is pretty wrong. So it is the speed at which there is a problem. So
this is the speed at which the resonance is there.
So
whirling speed is the speed that at which the resonance
the
is there.
effort is to avoid this. So if there is no vibration at whirling, then the world would have been different. Third is when rotor is mounted on a shaft, its center of mass does not usually coincide with the center line of the shaft. Yes, that is always there, be it naturally available anything or you manufacture it, you know, manually. So it is never possible to coincide the center of mass with the geometric center of any of the body possible on this world. And now, so third is also right.
So the right answer for this is 1 and 3.
See.
Right? So this is the answer. Consider the following statement regarding the gear terminology. Very nice. Rack is a part of the gear wheel of infinite diameter. That's okay, because rack is the biggest gear. Us pe circle dia is having infinite value. Module is the ratio of number of teeth to the circle diameter. ये गलत हो गया. This is a diametral pitch. Module d by t होता है, t by d नहीं होता. तो this is correct, but this is wrong. The point of the contact of the two pitch circles is known as the pitch point. This is correct. यहाँ दो pitch circle touch करते हैं, you know very well that point is pitch point. So 1 and 3 both are correct. So 1 and 3. The answer will be B.
So the next is question number 110. That is, consider the following statements regarding interference in involute gears. First is mating of two non-conjugate teeth is known as interference. Yes, for sure. Second is If any of the two surfaces is not an involute, the two surfaces would not touch each other tangentially and the transmission of power would not be proper. Actually, if you ask me particularly, examiner has mentioned involute only. Though there can be cycloidal profiles as well, na? Where they can meet and there will be power transmission.
But one glitch is there in this question. Please be careful. He is asking any of two surfaces. Matlab, he is not asking of both the surfaces. He is asking of one surface. If any of the two, look at the point, even ऐसे भी conjugate profile बच्चों बन जाते हैं जिसमें दोनों surface ना involute हो ना cycloidal हो. अगर हमारे पास एक surface general है तो we can make a conjugate profile for the other surface. But any of two का मतलब कोई एक surface अगर involute नहीं है, दूसरा involute है, तो involute किसी और के साथ conjugate नहीं होगा. Involute के साथ ही conjugate हो. So this will be a non-conjugate connection. Any of two. Please be careful. अगर यहाँ any की जगह both of two लिखा जाता तो ये statement भी हमारा गलत हो जाता. बहुत ध्यान से समझिएगा. तो बोला गया the two surfaces would not touch each other tangentially and the transmission of the power will not be proper. That's the point.
In any of these questions in ESE, you can always remember the intention of the examiner. Go with the flow. So don't doubt yourself. If this first is right, if you make it wrong, then third is the common normal is also a common tangent to the two base circles. I'll do it. If the common normal is also a common tangent to the two base circles, and yes, that's right, and does not pass through the pitch point. Of course, it passes through the pitch point. So this is not right. So even if let's say your mind goes in such a pattern that you feels it is wrong. If you feel it is wrong, then there is no option, one only. So in that way also you can always, this is the exam, okay? So you need to have good temperament so that you can understand the intention of the examiner also.
But very, very brilliant question this they have asked. Very brilliant.
So 1 and 2, so the right answer will go with?
Yes. So this is the answer. Okay. Next question, sir. Consider the following statement regarding the terminology of worm gear in single helix. Single helix means single threaded, right? Number of starts 1. So number of starts of 1 है तो axial pitch is equal to the lead. That's it. Because lead is equal to pitch multiplied by number of starts. But single helix है तो 1. So lead is equal to pitch. So this point is correct. This point is correct. Right. Lead angle is an angle at which the teeth are inclined to the normal to the axis of rotation. That is also correct, which is represented by lambda 1. In case of worms, the lead angle is very small. Okay. Very nice. And the helix angle is approaches to 0. हो ही नहीं सकता because worm के केस में आप जानते हो लीड एंगल और हेलिक्स एंगल इन दोनों का सम 90 होता है. तो लीड एंगल बहुत छोटा होता है इसीलिए हेलिक्स एंगल बहुत ज्यादा होता है वर्म का. तो वर्म का जो हेलिक्स एंगल होता है उसको हम लोग स्पाइरल एंगल बोलते हैं. दैट इज वेरी वेरी हाई. तो ये आंसर हमारा थर्ड वाला ऑप्शन गलत हो जाता है. सो द राइट आंसर इज 1 and 2. सो दैट इज द ऑप्शन ए.
So the next is what happens to the motion of the piston in a slider crank mechanism when the length of the connecting rod is large. See, if n is large, if L is large, that means your n will be large, and if n is large, trust me, you can write your equation of displacement of the piston as this. Similarly, you can write velocity, it would be proportional to sine theta, and acceleration would come out proportional to cos theta. It is a very standard example of simple harmonic motion. So the piston executes a simple harmonic motion.
So the right option is B. Next question, consider the following statements regarding the kinematic pairs according to the nature of contact. Shaft rotating in the bearing is an example of lower pair. Shaft और bearing के बीच में कौन सा pair होता है? Turning pair. Turning pair is a lower pair. Universal joint is an example of higher pair. That's wrong. Universal joint में आपके different lower pairs involve होते हैं, different turning pairs involve होते हैं, वो सब lower है. Wheel rolling on the surface is an example of higher pair. Wheel is rolling over a surface is a point contact. That's a higher pair. So 1 and 3 are correct.
So the right answer would be
is B.
Universal joint, do remember, it's a combination of pin joints.
Yes, hook joint.
So next is the degree of freedom of a link is having 11 lengths and 4 loops is.
बहुत important. आपको मैं बताता हूं, कभी कभी क्वेश्चन इतने साइड से आ जाते हैं, कभी क्वेश्चन इतने साइड से आ जाते हैं, जो चीज आपको क्लास में बोली जाती है उसको फॉलो किया करिए. मैंने बोला था एक लूप क्राइटेरिया भी होता है डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम का, और इसमें 5 साल पहले 10 मिनट का एक वीडियो लगा हुआ है, लेकिन बच्चे देखते नहीं है. आप कभी जाके देखिएगा लूप क्राइटेरिया ऑफ डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम बाय अमित कक्कर सर, आपको मिल जाएगा.
But even if they said try to go, if they have attended the classes, if they go with the Grubler's criteria and the equation, then also they can find. But yes, it would be lengthy for you.
मतलब they must be known this.
It's so easy if they go with this. And now here, see, this n is not. I'm not representing.
It's a number of links.
So it is same as we represent the small l. So it is number of links. L is here, capital L is number of loops. So whenever you get a question where links and the number of loops are mentioned, trust me, examiner is, somewhere wishes you to go with this formula. Now, n is how many links, sir? 11 links.
11.
And then loops is
4.
4. It's 9. 11 minus 9 is 2. So the right answer would be
2. When one of the turning pair of a lower pair chain, 4-bar chain is replaced by a sliding pair. When one turning pair is replaced by sliding pair, that's a single slider crank mechanism. Very simple answer. So this answer is actually the B option is correct.
So the next is, consider the following statements regarding Coriolis acceleration component. The Coriolis acceleration component is positive if the link rotates clockwise and the slider moves radially outwards. You again need to understand, examiner, see, he is mentioning the Coriolis acceleration component. If the link rotates clockwise, okay, that is the angular velocity clockwise, and the slider moves radially outwards. So this is the sliding velocity. You need to rotate this by 90 degree. If I take some other color, 90 degree in the sense of omega, this would be your Coriolis acceleration. And now you can consider it horizontal forward, in that way positive. See, here you need to understand one more thing. See, the velocity, usually we take upward as positive. So the Coriolis is, I should say, so this would be positive. Second is, it is positive if both angular velocity and linear velocity are either positive and negative. You can understand the formula wise also, that if it is 2v omega, if you take this positive, the answer would be positive. If you keep negative, then also it would be positive. Although you may, verify it with the directions as well, but we are going with the mathematics here.
हाँ, even direction से भी आप लोग कर सकते हो. जैसे इसने बोला, एक चीज तो चेक हो गई बच्चों. अब if both it is possible if both angular velocity and linear velocities are either positive or negative. तो by convention हम लोग clockwise positive लेते हैं, radial outward positive लेते हैं. अगर इसका उल्टा केस भी आप लेते हो, suppose the situation is something like that, कि ये हमारी रॉड है, right, and this radially inward velocity हो जाती है और ये clock के बजाय anti clock हो जाता है. So what is the anti-clock direction? So anti-clock is this direction. So this is a sliding velocity. You have to rotate anti-clockwise by 90 degree. Again, your Coriolis is coming here. So in both of these situations, Coriolis is coming in the positive x direction.
And the last one is Coriolis acceleration component is not dependent on angular velocity. It's a
dependent. 2v omega.
Coriolis acceleration is proportional to omega. So it's a wrong. And then the right answer would be 1 and 2. That is A.
Yeah. One more question is there.
Okay.
The gun is designed such that on firing, the barrel recoils against the spring. Okay. By action reaction wala principle. A dashpot at the end of the recoil allows the barrel to come back to its initial position within minimum time without any oscillation. Okay. The gun barrel has a mass of this and recoil spring is of 300 Newton per mm stiffness. Okay. The barrel recoils 1 meter on the firing. Simple सी बात है. आप इस बैरल को एक मास समझो. वहां से कोई चीज गन शॉट हुई तो वो पीछे रिकॉइल कर रहा है. तो इट मींस व्हाटएवर द बैरल वेलोसिटी विल कम, वही पूछा उसने, व्हाट विल बी द इनिशियल रिकॉइल वेलोसिटी ऑफ द गन बैरल. सो उस समय उसके पास क्या एनर्जी है? हाफ mv स्क्वायर. एंड दैट एनर्जी हैज बीन कन्वर्टेड इनटू, जब स्प्रिंग हमारी कंप्रेस हो गई 1 मीटर, कितना दिया हुआ है 1 मीटर, विल बी कन्वर्टेड टू द स्ट्रेन एनर्जी, क्योंकि देन मास कम्स टू जीरो वेलोसिटी. सो इट विल बी हाफ s into x स्क्वायर स्ट्रेन एनर्जी. हाफ कैंसिल हो गया. मास इज हाउ मच गिवन सर? 500 kg. 500 kg into velocity v square. S is what? How much given? 300 Newton per mm. So it is 300 into 10 raised to the power 3 कर दीजिए न्यूटन पर मीटर into x square.
X is 1 given.
X is 1. तो x की वैल्यू भी गिवन है बच्चों कि 1 मीटर ये कंप्रेस करता है. तो यहाँ से वेलोसिटी आ जाएगी एंड दिस वेलोसिटी इज कमिंग आउट टू बी 24.494 meter per second. So this is the answer. So
this is the mechanics way, and even in case if you feel that it is question of vibration, we are using the mechanics, you can go with that way also, that the maximum velocity that you must have, all of you must have covered it, that is nothing but natural frequency multiplied
amplitude.
with what? The amplitude. Or you can write here x max. If you elaborate it a little, you'll get to the same equation. You have written here the same equation. Okay, here I'm taking k as stiffness, so you replace it with s. This will also yield the same thing.
Same data.
So you can calculate it that way as well.
Yes.
Okay. So
One more. 24th.
Hold on, they will start it. Make it light. EM की slide नहीं आई है. Oh, okay.
So my dear students, we have come with a very important announcement. 24th February. ध्यान रखेंगे 24th February is a date for the conventional batch. तो जितने भी बच्चे डीपली इंटरेस्टेड हैं, वो सारे स्टूडेंट्स जिन्होंने पूरे साल प्रिपेयर किया है, राइट, इंजीनियरिंग सर्विसेज का पेपर जिनका प्री पेपर बहुत अच्छा हुआ है, वो तो आएंगे बिकॉज दे आर द डिजर्विंग कैंडिडेट टू क्वालिफाई द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. जिन बच्चों का अच्छा नहीं भी हुआ इंजीनियरिंग सर्विसेज का प्री पेपर, दे विल बी इन अ क्यू फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑफ प्रिपरेशन, वेदर इट इज सेल्फ हैंडलेड स्टडी और कहीं पर भी आप स्टडी करोगे, किसी की भी गाइडेंस में करोगे, बट योर प्रिपरेशन शुड बी कंप्लीट. तो कंप्लीशन की एक लास्ट जर्नी बची हुई है आपकी होल ऑफ द ईयर की. 24th February वी आर कमिंग विद अ कन्वेंशनल प्रैक्टिस प्रोग्राम बैच, जिसको पहले हम लोग मीन्स बैच भी बोलते थे. कन्वेंशनल प्रैक्टिस प्रोग्राम बैच 24th February से इवनिंग 5 o'clock स्टार्ट होगा, 5 PM, 5 to 9 PM will be the class. So be ready for that. Get enrolled inside the inside batch as soon as it is possible. All the best. We are coming with the next course solution for this engineering services paper.
ये कौन सी लगा रही है?
So hello everyone.
Hello everyone. Good evening.
Now we will discuss the solutions of the power plant questions. Power plant से काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, बट मोस्टली थ्योरेटिकल हैं. एक ही क्वेश्चन आपका न्यूमेरिकल का आया है, पॉलीट्रॉपिक एफिशिएंसी के ऊपर, स्मॉल स्टेज एफिशिएंसी. तो सर डिस्कस करते हैं फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन.
First question. Consider the following statement regarding location of cooling tower. They are asking about the cooling tower. See, if we talk about the tower's side should be such that it allows unrestricted airflow. ये बिल्कुल सही है, समझ में आ रहा है, लॉजिकल है कि it should be the correct one. Open space as far as possible should be allowed between the cooling tower, lowers and nearby structure. ये भी सही स्टेटमेंट है. हवा वगैरह इजीली आ सकती है, एयर आ जाए तभी तो अपन कूल डाउन कर पाएंगे कूलिंग वाटर को. द टावर शुड बी लोकेटेड इन सच अ वे दैट द पाइपिंग रनिंग टू एंड फ्रॉम इज मिनिमम, सो दैट पाइपिंग लाइसेंस शुड बी मिनिमम. तो ये भी करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. ऑल द थ्री आर
आंसर इज डी. All are correct. Now the next question is, in which following type of the system the water is drawn directly from the upstream and pumped through the condensers discharged to the downstream side. तो ये सीधा सीधा समझ आ रहा है, it's a case of a open system. Okay, so open or once through system, जिसके केस के अंदर हम यूज करते हैं. Okay,
A will be the correct one for the question number 2.
A. Sir, next
Question number 16. Consider the following statement regarding pump and compressor. High pressure multi-stage centrifugal pumps and compressors are widely used. Yes, सही है. Industrial furnaces employs fan and blowers of various size for producing the required rod. That is also the correct one. Small gas turbines are used to drive turbopumps. Yes, small size gas turbines can be used to run turbopump. So all the three are correct one. So D will be the correct answer for this question number 16.
Now the 17 is thermal efficiency of the engine is defined as the ratio of the useful work done. Useful work done. Okay. To the thrust energy supplied, output upon input, एक बेसिक भाषा के अंदर हम जो बोलते हैं. Propulsive efficiency is defined as the ratio of useful work done. That is also right. The overall efficiency is basically the product of these two.
हाँ, इन दोनों को
thermal
मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे.
efficiency into propulsive efficiency. तो this statement is not right.
यहाँ पे exactly ये first statement को वापस इन्होंने रीराइट कर दिया है ना.
अगर आप इसको पूरे को मैच करेंगे यहाँ से और यहाँ से बिल्कुल सेम कर रखा है, तो this is the definition of thermal efficiency, not the overall. Overall is the product of these two. So the option A, 1 and 2 are correct. So next question.
Question number 18, that for the ramjet engine, in the ramjet engine, the pressure rise in the engine is wholly due to the impulse. No, sorry, it is from ram effect के कारण, इसलिए तो नाम ही आया ram. तो ये पहले स्टेटमेंट गलत हो गया, उसके बाद बाकी चेक करना ही नहीं है. दो ऑप्शन है, 2 and 3 will be the correct one.
Okay. Now the 19th. No, sorry. 19th is missing.
Question number 19 का है इसमें, नहीं है क्या?
Okay, 19th है. So 19th is big. Which of the following statement regarding the pulse jet engine? The pulse jet engine is a thrust producing device without the turbine in the compressor. Same टाइप का क्वेश्चन है जो पहले भी रिपीट हो चुका है. कंबशन चैम्बर में जो होगा द फ्यूल रिच मिक्सचर इज एक्सप्लोडेड बाय द स्पार्क प्लग. डेफिनेटली इस टाइप का आपने स्टेटमेंट इन द केस ऑफ आईसी इंजन आल्सो सुना है.
ये दोनों सही है,
दोनों के दोनों सही है. द
फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ एक्सप्लोजंस ये थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होती है, दैट इज नियर अबाउट 50 to 250 है ना. यहाँ पे उन्होंने सिर्फ 100 दिया है. हाँ, अगर 100 पल्स पर सेकंड होगा ना तो उतना इंपैक्ट नहीं आ पाएगा. दैट विल बी रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द थ्रस्ट. दैट विल बी रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट, थर्ड वन.
सो द आंसर इज बॉम्बे. 20th.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 20. Question number 20.
One minute, please.
Question number 20. Consider the following statement regarding compressors. A centrifugal compressor like a pump is a head or pressure producing device. That is correct one. Is सही है?
Correct है.
The performance wise centrifugal compressors is less efficient. Yes, normally axial की efficiency थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होती है compared to centrifugal. Third one, centrifugal type of compressor is suitable for high specific speed, low pressure ratio and high mass rate. नहीं, ये थोड़ा सा उल्टा है. यहाँ पे अगर अपन बात करें तो they are comparing compared to axial. तो अगर axial से बात करें तो इसका mass rate कम होता है और specific speed भी कम है. तो यहाँ पे B will be the correct answer for the question number 20.
20. So the 21. This is related to the condenser and cooling tower chapter. Okay, they are interested in the vacuum efficiency definition, condenser efficiency and the deaeration. Deaeration तो हम open feed water heater के अंदर भी पढ़ते हैं जो deaeration purpose के लिए होता है. Vacuum efficiency is defined as the ratio of maximum obtainable vacuum to the actual.
ये उल्टा हो गया है. ये exactly actual to maximum होता है ना. तो यहाँ पे एक गलत हो गया. That will be the wrong statement.
One is wrong. अगर one ही wrong है तो यहीं से आपका आंसर आ जाता है. Option is
2 and 3.
22.
Question number 22. Consider the following statement regarding the improvement of the Rankine cycle efficiency. तो see here, lowering the condenser pressure, ये सभी को पता है. कंडेंसर का प्रेशर कम करेंगे तो मीन टेम्परेचर ऑफ हीट रिजेक्शन एडिशन का गैप बढ़ जाएगा तो एफिशिएंसी बढ़ जाएगी. सही है. रेजिंग द बॉयलर प्रेशर, ये भी अपन ने पढ़ा हुआ है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेथड टू इंक्रीज द एफिशिएंसी. थर्ड इज रेजिंग स्टीम टेम्परेचर, दैट इज डिग्री ऑफ सुपर हीटिंग रेजेस द थर्मल एफिशिएंसी. ये भी बिल्कुल सही है. तो ऑल द 3 आर करेक्ट फॉर द क्वेश्चन नंबर 22.
23. This is related to the regenerative cycle. So in the regenerative cycle, the reheating has a limited ability to improve the thermodynamic efficiency of the cycle. Yes, हमने पढ़ा भी था कि reheating का जो major purpose होता है to improve the dryness fraction at the exit of the turbine blades. Okay, it is observed that largest single loss, okay, in the power plant takes place in the condenser. Yes, maximum heat rejection.
Almost 60% of the heat supply is directed in the
reducing the heat drastically improved था. ये last question का ही एक statement दोबारा इन्होंने दे दिया है. तो this is also right method to improve the performance of the system. Okay, the answer is D. 24.
Question number 24. स्टीम पावर प्लांट वर्क्स ऑन, और बड़ी सिंपल क्वेश्चन है ये, है ना. किसी से भी, सबसे बढ़िया होगा, कोई भी बच्चा ये नहीं छोड़ेगा.
चैप्टर का नाम है.
हाँ, रैंकाइन साइकिल.
ठीक है.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 25.
Which is
one of the following is not a primary. ध्यान देना, यहाँ पे ये बोल रहा है not a primary है. Primary exactly that is directly that is taken from the you can say earth crust. तो यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं लिग्नाइट, पीट, पेट्रोलियम, ये सभी क्रूड है जो आपको अर्थ क्रस्ट पे मिल जाते हैं. डीजल जो है रिफर्निश्ड होता है, दैट इज सेकेंडरी, नॉट प्राइमरी.
27 ऑप्शन इज ए. ये सिंपल क्वेश्चन है.
हाँ,
कि अबव द क्रिटिकल प्रेशर जो हम बोलते हैं, सुपर क्रिटिकल पावर प्लांट हम जिनको बोलते हैं, वंस थ्रू बॉयलर इसका दूसरा एक और नाम होता है.
नहीं, यहाँ पे बॉयलर, हाँ, यहाँ पे बॉयलर ड्रम की जरूरत ही नहीं है. नॉर्मली तो ये प्रीफर टू
बेंसन्स, लेमोंट, ये जो हम एग्जांपल समझते हैं. तो 27 का ऑप्शन इज ए. 28.
Which one of the following is the method of reducing turbine blade speed for a given overall pressure drop? See, that method is known as compounding. इसके अंदर दो हैं, एक pressure और velocity compounded, पर यहाँ बहुत सिंपल पूछा है. That directly will be answer A for the question number 28.
Velocity compounding को हम कर्टिस बोलते हैं.
हाँ, यहाँ पे लेकिन उन्होंने pressure drop के लिए बोला है.
So 29
is option
Yeah.
A.
In which of the following types of condenser does exhaust steam coming from the turbine mix directly with the, देखिए water sorry steam और जो water है directly mix मिलता है,
Open.
that is only in the open type. बाकी ये जितने हैं ना ये सभी जो है
तो हम
closed है.
समझते हैं दो टाइप के होते हैं, डायरेक्ट कॉन्टैक्ट, एक इनडायरेक्ट कॉन्टैक्ट. इनडायरेक्ट मतलब सरफेस टाइप, ओके, जैसे शेल एंड ट्यूब पर समझते हैं. बट जेट कंडेंसर इज अ टाइप ऑफ ओपन टाइप कंडेंसर. सो
Energy as well as mass interaction will take place. So answer will be A.
30th option is A.
30th, consider the following statement regarding cooling towers. Cooling tower is a wooden or metallic rectangular structure with packed baffling devices. सही है, ये correct है. The hot water is delivered to the top of the tower and falls down through the tower and is broken into small particles while passing over the baffling device. है ना, इससे कि जिससे वो bifurcate हो पाए और cooling effect आ पाए.
इसका सरफेस एरिया भी इंक्रीज हो जाएगा.
Hot water falls down into a tank below the tower from where it can again circulate to the compressor. अब देखिए ये गलत है ना, कंप्रेशर नहीं, एक तो पहले तो पंप होता है, सेकेंडली कंप्रेशर में नहीं जाता, जाता है कंडेंसर
के
में.
अंदर.
तो दैट विल बी रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट. थर्ड वन
आंसर इज ऑप्शन ए 1 एंड 2. 35 जो क्वेश्चन है, अगर आप पहली लाइन पढ़ेंगे तो आपको लगेगा कि आरएसी का है, बट व्हेन यू विल सी इन द डिटेल इट इज रिलेटेड टू द पावर प्लांट. एक्सियल फ्लो कंप्रेसर में हम एक टॉपिक पढ़ते हैं, पॉलीट्रॉपिक और स्मॉल स्टेज एफिशिएंसी. तो अगर आप देखेंगे तो आइसेंट्रोपिक इंडेक्स यहाँ पे उसने चेंज कर दिया 1.1 टाइम. तो पॉलीट्रॉपिक और स्मॉल स्टेज एफिशिएंसी का फॉर्मूला होता है गामा -1 अपॉन गामा अपॉन n -1 अपॉन n. तो ये फॉर्मूला क्या निकल के आएगा, गामा -1 अपॉन गामा इंटू n अपॉन n -1 इंटू पॉलीट्रॉपिक एफिशिएंसी. अगर आप देखेंगे तो पॉलीट्रॉपिक एफिशिएंसी और स्टेज एफिशिएंसी इज गिवन एज 0.80 एंड डोंट यूज 1.4. हमारी एक हैबिट होती है.
हाँ, यहाँ पे 1.1 दिया हुआ है.
1.1 दे रखा है, तो 1.1 -1 अपॉन 1.1 इंटू n अपॉन n -1. जब आप इसको सॉल्व करेंगे तो यू विल गेट 1.12. आंसर इज ऑप्शन डी.
D will be the answer for the question
This
number
is the
31.
only numerical they have asked in the power plant. The answer is D.
D. Then
Now-
question number 38.
38.
Consider the following statement regarding gas turbine plant. If the gas turbine plant is used as an aircraft engine, the net output at the turbine shaft is used to drive a propeller in a turboprop engine. Of course, that will be क्योंकि turbine का purpose होता है propel करना, and that will be utilized in a simple open circuit gas turbine plant. The hot gases from the combustion chamber pass out to the atmosphere after expanding through the turbine.
Open cycle और closed cycle में difference ये होता है.
यही होता है.
Open cycle मतलब you are using only one time. Closed cycle
use and
is
throw.
circulated.
In the closed circuit gas turbine plant, the same working fluid calculated. That is also the definition of closed one. So all the three will be the correct one.
Answer is D. Now I think the last question from the power plant.
Question
48.
number. Yeah. With increase in pressure ratio, the isentropic efficiency of a compressor turbine will decrease. And of course, क्योंकि दोनों के बीच में जैसे जैसे आप pressure ratio बढ़ाओगे ना, irreversibility और बढ़ती जाएगी. Isentropic efficiency.
Losses or irreversibility is going to be increased. So thank you so much. ये था आपका power plant के question. After a few minutes, we will discuss the questions for the thermo RAC and IC engine. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now let us start the discussion of thermodynamics और thermal के जो topics है thermodynamics है सर आईसी इंजन है, आरएसी है, ये सब कंटिन्यूएशन में हम डिस्कस करेंगे। और ओवरऑल सर पेपर थोड़ा सा इट वाज कंपैरेटिवली ऑन द टफर साइड, ये आप लोगों ने एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा। थ्योरेटिकल कुछ क्वेश्चंस है, डिस्कस करते हैं एक एक क्वेश्चन हम। तो क्वेश्चन 47 ये सेट सी के बेसिस पे है ना सर क्वेश्चन। Which one of the following models assume that each mixture component behaves as an ideal gas if existed separately at the pressure and temperature of the mixture? देखो इसमें एक बात ध्यान देने वाली है कि जो डाल्टन्स, जैसे कई बार दिमाग में डाल्टन्स आता है, तो डाल्टन्स लॉ ऑफ जो पार्शियल प्रेशर होता है ना, वो ये एज्यूम करता है कि अगर हम यही जैसे मान लो कहीं मिक्सचर में कोई गैस एग्जिस्ट कर रही है, तो उसी गैस को आप उतने ही वॉल्यूम पे रख दो, यानी वॉल्यूम सेम रखते हैं तो सेम उसी गैस को रख दो बाकी गैसेस को हटा के, तो पार्शियल प्रेशर आता है, नहीं प्रेशर कम हो जाता है। और हर गैस को ऐसे ही पार्शियल प्रेशर निकालते हैं। बट जब हम बात करते हैं अमागट्स लॉ की, तो अमागट्स लॉ क्या कहता है? अमागट्स लॉ कहता है किसी गैस का अगर कोई मिक्सचर है, तो इसमें सपोज कोई गैस बने, तो इस गैस को आप जो भी मिक्सचर का प्रेशर है, जो भी मिक्सचर का टेम्परेचर और जो भी मिक्सचर का वॉल्यूम है, तो इस गैस को आप कितने वॉल्यूम में रख दो, कितने वॉल्यूम में रख दो कि सिर्फ गैस वन की मदद से टोटल प्रेशर हम वही मेंटेन कर पाए जो पूरे मिक्सचर का है। तो इसीलिए जब आपसे ये बोला गया ना क्वेश्चन में कि सेपरेटली एट द प्रेशर P एंड टेम्परेचर T ऑफ द मिक्सचर, यानी मिक्सचर के प्रेशर टेम्परेचर पे, तो आंसर क्या होना है इसका?
ऑप्शन इज सी,
अमागट्स।
बट मैक्सिमम लोगों ने काफी नहीं गलती से ए भी मारा होगा क्योंकि वो पार्शियल प्रेशर एक दिमाग में रहता है। तो ऑप्शन इज सी,
राइट।
ओके, सो सर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज
व्हिच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज यूज्ड टू फाइंड द इंक्रीज इन एंट्रोपी बिटवीन द एब्सोल्यूट जीरो?
एब्सोल्यूट टेम्परेचर।
हाँ, इसमें हम जब बात करते हैं ना,
थर्ड
तो
थर्मोडायनेमिक्स,
बिल्कुल जब हम बात करते हैं ds, सो ds इज इक्वल्स टू c dt, जैसे mc dt मास इनटू स्पेसिफिक हीट इज
dq by t,
दी टोटल हीट कैपेसिटी अपॉन t। अब आप देखो जब हम इसको इंटीग्रेट करेंगे, तो अगर मैं बोलूं कि 0 केल्विन से शुरू किया और t तक किया, तो एंट्रोपी 0 केल्विन पे 0, या थर्ड लॉ इन्वॉल्व हो गया। खैर दैट इज नॉट गिवन इन द ऑप्शंस, बट यहां पे इसके बाद जो मेजरमेंट बचेगा वो किसका बचेगा?
सी की टर्म,
सी का, हीट कैपेसिटी, है ना। तो हीट कैपेसिटी कैलोरीमेट्रिक डेटा, यानी कैलोरीमीटर मतलब मेजरमेंट ऑफ हीट, स्पेसिफिक हीट्स एक्सेट्रा। सो दिस इज द आंसर।
सो द आंसर इज बी।
बी।
Okay. So for the next question is, which one of the following statement is correct if the heat is added to the system at a higher temperature? ये बड़ा ही सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है। ds is equal to dq by t, अभी सर ने पिछले क्वेश्चन में भी ये यूज करा था। तो टेम्परेचर अगर हायर होगा तो उसके केस के अंदर एंट्रोपी, इंक्रीज इन एंट्रोपी इज गोइंग टू बी स्मॉल। सो आंसर इज
बी। हम ऐसे लिख सकते हैं ds is equals to del q by t। आप सेम हीट ऐड करोगे जितने ज्यादा टेम्परेचर पे, del q अगर सेम है, एंट्रोपी चेंज उतना ही कम आएगा।
change decrease in rate. So these are the questions from the thermodynamics. Now we will move towards the RAC. In the case of RAC, which one of the following is not an assumption of the standard VCRS? तो I think ये सारे बच्चों ने क्वेश्चन कर लिया
होगा सर।
Compression is isentropic, VCRS सबसे पहले पढ़ते हैं। This is right. Heat rejection is isentropic. No. Condenser and evaporator are operating at constant pressure. बहुत बार बात होती है। तो आंसर is B. He is not correct.
Not
But
correct.
ये इंपॉर्टेंट है,
ये आपको ध्यान रखना
है ना। काफी लोग शायद इस वर्ड को अगर मिस कर देंगे तो मे बी दे विल गेट द रॉन्ग आंसर। तो आंसर इज बॉम्बे, बी। सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, आंसर इज ए। इन द केस ऑफ द एजियोट्रोप्स हम पढ़ते हैं R500 होता है, मिक्सचर ऑफ रेफ्रिजरेंट होता है, ओके, व्हिच आर बिहेविंग लाइक अ प्योर सब्सटेंस। So from the performance of point of view, it is desirable to have refrigerant mixture with 0 temperature glide, so that dew point temperature is equal to the bubble point temperature. Bubble point temperature is nothing, this is the boiling temperature. तो ये दोनों सेम होंगे क्योंकि dew point temperature का definition क्या है? Initiation of the condensation will start. Okay, so therefore the temperature has to be same. So the answer is option A. Okay. And the last question,
ये वेपर एब्जॉर्प्शन रेफ्रिजरेशन सिस्टम का VAS सिस्टम। सो इन दिस अगर आप देखोगे कि व्हेन द प्योर अमोनिया इज एंटरिंग, तो उस केस में उसको कंपेयर करना है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ प्योर अमोनिया अगर वाटर भी एंटर कर जाता है,
एक्वा अमोनिया सिस्टम,
एक्वा अमोनिया
जो हम पढ़ते हैं अमोनिया वाटर का
राइट। तो हम जैसे रेक्टिफायर वगैरह लगाते हैं सर वाटर को रिमूव करने के लिए, बट अगर ये नहीं लगाया तो क्या प्रॉब्लम होगी? प्रॉब्लम ये होगी कि आपका रेफ्रिजरेशन इफेक्ट कम हो जाएगा एंड दी बेसिकली अगर इसका इंपैक्ट आप देखोगे तो दी COP
is going to be
will reduce, तो COP will reduce। So आपने ऑप्शन पहले ही मार्क कर दिया, ऑप्शन सी।
Okay, तो ऑप्शन इज सी। So now we will move towards the IC engine, sir.
राइट। सो IC इंजन्स के अगर आप क्वेश्चंस देखोगे ना, आईसी इंजन क्वेश्चंस वर कंपैरेटिवली वेरी वेरी ट्रिकी, और हम डिस्कस करेंगे हाउ यू कैन आंसर देम। सो टोटल 9 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ आईसी इंजन्स हैव बीन आस्क्ड, एक एक करके देखते हैं। तो सबसे पहले अगर आप देखोगे सॉलिड एंड लिक्विड फ्यूल्स, ओनली सॉलिड फ्यूल्स, ओनली गैसियस फ्यूल्स। अब ये ना कंबशन का क्वेश्चन है, इसको आप कंबशन में पावर प्लांट, आईसी इंजन दोनों में कंबशन हम पढ़ते हैं, क्लास में हम पढ़ते भी हैं। मैं लिखवाता हूं आपको बॉम्ब कैलोरीमीटर। बॉम्ब कैलोरीमीटर में आई हैव डिस्कस्ड कि सॉलिड और लिक्विड फ्यूल्स के लिए इट इज यूज्ड। सो सॉलिड और लिक्विड फ्यूल्स के लिए P विल बी मैच्ड विद 1, सो P विल बी मैच्ड विद 1। देन ओनली गैसियस फ्यूल हम बात करते हैं जंकर्स कैलोरी मीटर की। तो जंकर्स गैस कैलोरी मीटर क्या होता है? ये कांस्टेंट प्रेशर पे काम करता है। गैस के लिए आप जो कैलोरीमीटर यानी जो हीट का मेजरमेंट है ये करते हैं, कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू निकालते हैं। तो ओनली गैसियस फ्यूल को हम बात मैच करेंगे, R विल बी मैच्ड विद 3, R विल बी मैच्ड विद 3। जनरली इसकी बात हम करते नहीं है आईसी इंजन में, क्योंकि आईसी इंजन के फ्यूल हमारे गैसियस फ्यूल और लिक्विड फ्यूल्स होते हैं। तो यू आर लेफ्ट विद ओनली वन ऑप्शन। बट अगर आप लुईस थॉम्सन कैलोरीमीटर देखोगे तो ये ओनली सॉलिड फ्यूल्स के लिए इट इज यूज्ड ओनली फॉर द सॉलिड फ्यूल्स, अगर इसका आइडिया होगा किसी को तो। अदरवाइज यू कैन मैच विद दीज टू आल्सो। सो P 1 2 3 1 2 3 ऑप्शन बी इज करेक्ट, राइट? सो ऑप्शन बी होगा। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे मूव करते हैं। देन इफ वी सी विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग डज नॉट प्रपोर्ट नॉकिंग इन एसआई इंजन। एसआई इंजन में जो नॉकिंग होती है, देखो किस वजह से होगी नॉकिंग। Whatever factor will increase the temperature, जो भी फैक्टर टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज करेगा नॉकिंग प्रोड्यूस करेगा। Whatever factor will increase the time travel, फ्लेम जितनी देर में जाएगा, तो जो भी फैक्टर टाइम को इंक्रीज करेगा वो नॉकिंग को प्रोड्यूस करेगा, राइट? इसके अलावा अगर आपके फ्यूल का ऑक्टेन नंबर कम होगा तो भी नॉकिंग की टेंडेंसी होगी। देखते हैं हायर कंप्रेशन रेशियो से टेम्परेचर बढ़ता है, ध्यान रखना है नॉट। तो क्योंकि टेम्परेचर बढ़ता है ये नॉकिंग करता है, तो आंसर नहीं होगा। पुअर सिलेंडर कूलिंग, अब सिलेंडर कूलिंग नहीं होगी तो टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा, तो नॉकिंग विल टेक प्लेस। सो बेसिकली पुअर सिलेंडर कूलिंग विल नॉट बी द आंसर, क्योंकि नॉट प्रमोट। ऑप्टिमम मिक्सचर स्ट्रेंथ, जो मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर आता है ना वो स्टोइकियोमेट्रिक मिक्सचर के आसपास आता है। तो अगर स्टोइकियोमेट्रिक मिक्सचर है, ऑप्टिमम मिक्सचर स्ट्रेंथ का मतलब यही है कि लिक्विड फ्यूल और एयर का मिक्सचर कैसा है। तो अगर आप देखोगे इस केस में तो ये प्रमोट करता है, यानी जितना आप इसके पास ऑपरेट करोगे टेम्परेचर हाई होगा। रिटार्डेड इग्निशन टाइमिंग ये प्रमोट नहीं करता। इसका रीजन ये होता है जब आप इग्निशन टाइमिंग को रिटार्ड करते हैं, जैसे हम पी थीटा डायग्राम बनाते हैं ना, तो पी थीटा डायग्राम जब आप बनाते हो तो आप देखोगे ये अगर मोटरिंग कर्व है तो व्हेन यू रिटार्ड, जब आप रिटार्ड कर देते हो तो जितना ज्यादा आप रिटार्ड करते हो ना उतना जो मैक्सिमम टेम्परेचर है, प्रेशर है, वो कम हो जाता है। यानी अगर मैं कंपेयर करूं कि सपोज इफ दिस इज समथिंग जो पहले था, आपका स्पार्क पहले हो गया, तो उस केस में प्रेशर टेम्परेचर जो है वो ज्यादा आता है, ठीक है? तो ये हम कह सकते हैं ये ग्रीन वाला है जब हमने स्पार्क को रिटार्ड कर दिया तो, ठीक है? इसके डिटेल में बहुत ज्यादा हम नहीं जाएंगे क्योंकि ये हम डिस्कस करते हैं। तो दिस इज द आंसर डी, राइट? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन अगर हम बात करें आईसी इंजन में परफॉर्मेंस नंबर ऑल्सो वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट इन द क्लास, हमने क्लास में डिस्कस किया है। परफॉर्मेंस नंबर क्या होता है? परफॉर्मेंस नंबर देखो कम कॉमन टर्म है तो जनरली लोग नहीं पढ़ते हैं। ऑक्टेन नंबर पढ़ते हैं, RON पढ़ लेते हैं, MON पढ़ लेते हैं, रिसर्च ऑक्टेन, मोटर ऑक्टेन। परफॉर्मेंस नंबर इज लिंक्ड विद द नॉक लिमिटेड मीन इफेक्टिव प्रेशर। तो नॉक लिमिटेड मतलब जब नॉकिंग होगी, और मीन इफेक्टिव प्रेशर को कंपेयर करते हो जो टेस्ट फ्यूल है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दी आइसो ऑक्टेन, राइट? अब इसमें कंपैरिजन किस पैरामीटर का होता है? बेसिकली अगर आप देखोगे ये जो परफॉर्मेंस नंबर है ना, इसमें 2 क्वेश्चन दिए इन्होंने, तो किससे रिलेट होता है? जिसने भी ये टॉपिक पढ़ा है एंड परफॉर्मेंस नंबर पढ़ा, हमने डिस्कस भी किया हुआ है क्लास में इस बात को, तो थर्मल एफिशिएंसी, मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी, इंडिकेटेड पावर नहीं, ये डेटोनेशन टेंडेंसी यानी नॉकिंग के लिए पढ़ते हैं। कहां पे इसको? जब हम फ्यूल्स की बात करते हैं कि हाउ फ्यूल्स अफेक्ट दी नॉकिंग, राइट? सो फ्यूल कैसा इफेक्ट करता है तो उसमें हम पढ़ते हैं इस बात को। सो आवर आंसर इज डी, राइट? नेक्स्ट देखते हैं। नेक्स्ट अगर आप देखोगे परफॉर्मेंस नंबर ऑफ एन एसआई इंजन इज ऑब्टेन्ड ऑन अ स्पेसिफाइड इंजन अंडर सेट ऑफ। अब परफॉर्मेंस नंबर से एक और क्वेश्चन है, परफॉर्मेंस नंबर में आप ऑब्टेन करते हैं जैसे जो फ्यूल आता है आपके पास उसको टेस्ट करना है, और एक स्टैंडर्ड फ्यूल होता है आइसो ऑक्टेन। तो परफॉर्मेंस नंबर के लिए आप क्या करते हो? जो फ्यूल आपके पास आया टेस्टिंग के लिए, यू एक्चुअली बर्न इट इन एन इंजन। उसको एक इंजन होता है जो कोऑपरेटिव फ्यूल रिसर्च इंजन बोलते हैं उसको। तो व्हेन वी बर्न इट तो उसमें हम मीन इफेक्टिव प्रेशर ऑब्टेन करते हैं। वहां तक जहां तक नॉकिंग ना हो जाए। तो कंप्रेशन रेशियो वेरी करते हैं, ये एक ऐसा इंजन है जिसपे कंप्रेशन रेशियो कैन बी वेरीड। सो दिस इज द आंसर सी। ठीक है, ये अगर आपने पढ़ा होगा तो जो कोऑपरेटिव फ्यूल रिसर्च इंजन है वो वेरी करता है कंप्रेशन रेशियो सी। सो देन लेट अस मूव फॉरवर्ड। आईसी इंजन के देखो अभी तक जितने भी हमने क्वेश्चन देखे दे वर वेरी ट्रिकी बट दिस इज वेरी इजी। क्या है ये? इसमें ऑटो साइकिल है, एयर स्टैंडर्ड एफिशिएंसी ऑफ ऑटो साइकिल, इसमें डिस्कशन की कोई बात ही नहीं है। टी है ऑटो साइकिल में 1 - 1 अपॉन r टू द पावर गामा -1 r इज द कंप्रेशन रेशियो। सो दिस इज द आंसर ऑफ द ऑटो साइकिल एफिशिएंसी, राइट। देन इफ वी मूव फॉरवर्ड, आगे बढ़े हम, इंजन विद 50 किलोवाट पावर हैज अ मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी ऑफ 75%। तो देखो इसमें कैसे हम सॉल्व करेंगे इसको। जो भी आपको पावर दी गई है, आई विल अज्यूम ब्रेक पावर, ब्रेक पावर किस पे? 100% लोड पे। तो 100% लोड पे ब्रेक पावर कितनी है? 50 किलोवाट। ठीक है, जो भी पावर दी जाती है कुछ ना बोला जाए, वी टेक इट टू बी ब्रेक पावर। मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी है 100% पे, 100% पे मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी इज 75%, दैट इज 0.75। अब आप मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी देखोगे जो 100% पे है, दिस इज इक्वल्स टू ब्रेक पावर अपॉन ब्रेक पावर प्लस फ्रिक्शन पावर। ठीक है, ये हो जाएगा। अब दिस इज 0.75 दिया हुआ है, हाउ मच इज दिस? 50 अपॉन 50 प्लस फ्रिक्शन पावर। तो यहां से हम फ्रिक्शन पावर निकाल लेंगे। ठीक है, आप ऑलरेडी डन दी कैलकुलेशन, मैंने कैलकुलेशन की हुई है। अगर एक बार हम देखें इस कैलकुलेशन को, तो आई हैव ऑलरेडी डन दी कैलकुलेशन, मैं आपको बता देता हूं, अदरवाइज टाइम लगेगा हमें। तो फ्रिक्शन पावर को मैंने कैलकुलेट किया था, फ्रिक्शन पावर आ रही है, इट इज कमिंग आउट टू बी, आप भी एक बार कमेंट करके आंसर बताओ कि हाउ मच इज दी वैल्यू, क्योंकि कैलकुलेशन करिए मैंने 16.67 आ रहा है। अब अगर आप देखोगे यू take it at 50% load. Now, if you take it at 50% load, now what is load? Load is the brake power. So 50% load means 50% brake power. So if the brake power you take at 50%, so you have the 50% of this, that is 0.5 into 50. तो 0.5 into 50 यानी 25 किलोवाट आ जाएगा। ठीक है, तो ये आएगा ब्रेक पावर 50% पे। अब अगर आप देखोगे मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी फॉर 50%, so this will be coming out to be ब्रेक पावर एट 50% अपॉन ब्रेक पावर प्लस फ्रिक्शन पावर। फ्रिक्शन पावर कांस्टेंट है ये कह रहे हैं, तो ब्रेक पावर हो गई 25 अपॉन ब्रेक पावर प्लस फ्रिक्शन पावर इज 16.67। ये जब आप कैलकुलेट करोगे ना 0.599 आया मेरा आंसर, 0.59 इसका मतलब 0.6 यानी 60%। तो 60% विल बी द आंसर, आंसर आ जाएगा सी। ठीक है, लेट अस मूव फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। अगर हम बात करें विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सोर्सेस कंट्रीब्यूट मेजरली फॉर द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन एमिशन। देखो हाइड्रोकार्बन एमिशन किस वजह से होता है? हाइड्रोकार्बन एमिशन का मेन रीजन ये है द फ्यूल विच गोज अनबर्न, जो फ्यूल अनबर्न चला जाता है, दैट इज द हाइड्रोकार्बन एमिशन। अब वो एक तो उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण है टेल पाइप एमिशंस, टेल पाइप मतलब एग्जॉस्ट पाइप से जो जा रहा है। अब इसमें जो भी इसमें आपको ऑप्शंस दिए हैं, उन ऑप्शंस में से कौन सा सही है, वी हैव टू सेलेक्ट दैट, क्योंकि मेन कारण तो जो एग्जॉस्ट पाइप से जा रहा है, एग्जॉस्ट वो होता है। अब इसमें लिखा है एग्जॉस्ट वॉल लीकेज, नहीं, लीकेज ऑफ एग्जॉस्ट वॉल बहुत कम रीजन होता है। मेन आपको जो होता है वो ब्लो बाई लॉसेस होते हैं। ब्लो बाई का मतलब क्या है? ब्लो बाई का मतलब है जो सिलेंडर और पिस्टन के बीच में से निकल जाता है। ठीक, अब बाकी बचे में, क्योंकि एग्जॉस्ट के साथ भी बहुत जाता है, बट ब्लो बाई लॉसेस भी बहुत बड़ा रीजन होता है। अब ब्लो बाई लॉसेस का जो नाम होगा ना, वो क्रेविसेस से आएगा। क्रेविसेस का मतलब क्या है? क्रेविसेस मतलब जो जगह होती है जो बच जाती है, तो वो यहां पे हमारा आंसर होगा। लिक्विड फ्यूल मतलब जो लिक्विड फ्यूल वेपर बनता है, जो वेपराइजेशन की वजह से लॉस होता है वो कम होता है, तो मैक्सिमम लॉस विल बी दिस। डिपॉजिट्स वगैरह का ये आंसर में नहीं आएगा। ठीक है, समझ में आई बात? तो दिस इज द बेस्ट पॉसिबल आंसर वी कैन टेक आउट ऑफ द गिवन ऑप्शन। आउट ऑफ द गिवन ऑप्शन में कह रहा हूं, क्योंकि अदरवाइज ओवरऑल देखोगे तो फिर एग्जॉस्ट गैस से is the maximum reason for the hydrocarbon emissions, right? Then let us move forward to the next question. Indicated specific fuel consumption of a 4-stroke. देखो indicated specific fuel consumption क्या होता है? ये है mass of fuel किलोग्राम पर आवर में, है ना, अपॉन इंडिकेटेड पावर। अब इंडिकेटेड पावर क्या है? आपको इंजन के पिस्टन पे जो पावर मिल रही है, इंजन के पिस्टन पे जो पावर मिल रही है, दिस इज इंडिकेटेड पावर, राइट? अब उसमें से जो पावर आपको मिल रही है शाफ्ट में, दिस इज ब्रेक पावर। यहां पे जो शाफ्ट पे मिल रही है ब्रेक पावर है। अब ब्रेक स्पेसिफिक फ्यूल कंजम्पशन इज मास ऑफ फ्यूल, यही यूनिट किलोवाट अपॉन ब्रेक पावर। अब आप ध्यान देना, इंडिकेटेड स्पेसिफिक फ्यूल कंजम्पशन इंप्रूव्स एट अ फास्टर रेट। ये ज्यादा अच्छे से इंप्रूव करता है व्हेन द कंप्रेशन रेशियो इज इंक्रीज। क्यों होता है? जब कंप्रेशन रेशियो बढ़ाते हो, देखो क्या होगा, कंप्रेशन रेशियो बढ़ाने से मैकेनिकल लोड बढ़ता है। ठीक है, तो क्या होता है, जैसे जो भी पावर इंजन प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, इंजन पावर तो ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस करता है, तो पावर ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस करेगा तो ये बढ़ जाएगा। सो ISFC रिड्यूस करता है, ISFC रिड्यूस कर जाता है, ठीक है। लेकिन क्या है इंपैक्ट, क्या है कि व्हेन दी कंप्रेशन रेशियो इज इंक्रीज, जब कंप्रेशन रेशियो इंक्रीज करता है तो द पावर विच यू गेट एट द शाफ्ट वो उतना ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ पाता, बढ़ता है बट इट डज नॉट इंक्रीज बिकॉज द मैकेनिकल स्ट्रेस ऑफ द इंजन इंक्रीजेस विच इंक्रीजेस द फ्रिक्शन पावर, ठीक है, और आपके हीट लॉसेस भी बढ़ते हैं। सो बेसिकली आंसर क्या है, ये पूछ रहे हैं कि ISFC ज्यादा क्यों इंप्रूव होता है, इंप्रूवमेंट, इसका इंप्रूवमेंट क्या है, कम होना है ना, ये भी कम होता है, बट व्हाई दिस इज मोर, व्हाई दिस इज मोर, बिकॉज ब्रेक पावर जो है उतना नहीं बढ़ पाता, बिकॉज फ्रिक्शन पावर बढ़ जाता है। सो इसलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए, आर देन दी ब्रेक स्पेसिफिक फ्यूल कंजम्पशन बिकॉज बोथ फ्रिक्शन एंड हीट लॉसेस, तो फ्रिक्शन और हीट लॉस दोनों इंक्रीज करते हैं विद कंप्रेशन रेशियो, सो बी शुड बी अवर आंसर, राइट। दिस इज द क्वेश्चन। नेक्स्ट अगर हम देखें, एडवांसमेंट ऑफ पीक सिलेंडर प्रेशर एहेड ऑफ टॉप डेड सेंटर, टॉप डेड सेंटर का मतलब जब पिस्टन TDC पे पहुंच रहा है, उससे पहले अगर आपका मैक्सिमम प्रेशर आ गया, अगर आप इस पे देखोगे तो ये P थीटा डायग्राम पे क्या कह रहे हैं, ये मान लो दिस इज द मोटरिंग कर्व, और अगर आपका मैक्सिमम प्रेशर यहां आ गया, जैसे मैक्सिमम प्रेशर यहां आ गया, पहले ही आ गया, तो क्या होगा, ये प्रेशर तब है व्हेन द पिस्टन इज मूविंग टुवर्ड्स TDC। अगर तब प्रेशर बहुत ज्यादा हो गया अंदर, तो बेसिकली आपके इंजन को वर्क देना पड़ेगा कंप्रेशन के लिए, और कंप्रेशन के लिए जो वर्क देते हैं वो नेगेटिव वर्क है, दिस इज नॉट द वर्क यू आर गेटिंग, तो नेगेटिव वर्क बढ़ता है, यानी यू विल स्पेंड हायर वर्क इन कंप्रेशन। तो प्री इग्निशन का मतलब है जब स्पार्क से इग्निशन होना था उससे पहले इग्निशन हो जाए, है ना। तो इसकी वजह से व्हेन द पीक प्रेशर टेक्स प्लेस बिफोर, यानी नॉर्मल साइकिल में यहां होता कहीं, बट यहां हो रहा है, तो इसकी वजह से क्या होगा, नेगेटिव वर्क बढ़ जाएगा, तो अवर आंसर विल बी ए, नेगेटिव वर्क, राइट। लेट अस, so these are the questions, तो we have a lot of questions from IC engines। next topic start हो जाएगा डिस्कशन में, stay tuned, ठीक है, we will come up just in a minute with the next topic।
Yeah, okay, Arvilai. So now we're gonna discuss the engineering mechanics. We'll start with this question. What is the centroid on the line of symmetry from the center distance of a quarter circle if the radius is r? Here, actually, see, examiner is mentioning about what is the centroid on the line of symmetry from the center distance of a quarter circle. Okay, so if you consider quarter circle, okay, this one. Now, if the radius is okay r, so you know it that the answer would be 4r by 3 pi. But let me tell you one thing that you may ask, sir, इसमें तो arc and planar lamina mention ही नहीं किया, तो आप ना option से देख लोगे, nowhere 2r by pi कहीं नहीं है. So the answer that examiner is asking you is for the planar area, that is quarter circular area. So the answer would be 4r by 3 pi. So the next is, if a particle has an initial velocity of 12 meter per second to the right at s0 equal to 0, that is at the starting the displacement is 0. What is the position when t equal to 10 second if acceleration is 2 meter per second square to the left? Here velocity is towards the right, acceleration is towards left, so it is actually retardation. So you can use this equation s equal to ut plus half at square. Here you know the initial velocity, that is 12, and time is what beta, 10 plus half acceleration. Here actually you need to put -2 because it is retardation, and 10 square, that is 100. You can simply see 120 minus 100, that's coming out as 20 meter. As initial displacement is 0, so the right answer would be A. So A is the right answer. Next is, consider the following statement regarding the center of gravity and centroid. First is, centroid of an area does not lie on the axis of symmetry if it exists. No, you have this, let's say this is a circle, and for this axis of symmetry do exist, and the centroid lies on axis of symmetry. Center of gravity of a body is a point through which the resultant gravitational force acts for any orientation of the body. Yes, you know, let's say you have this this is your remote. Let's say its center of gravity is here. You keep it here, here, or anywhere, the center of gravity would remain same. So this is your first and second, both are right. Third is centroid is a point in a line, plane, area or volume such that the moment of area about any axis through that point is 0. Actually, here examiner is mentioning first moment of area. First moment of area. Okay. First moment of area, you understand. First moment of area. Not the second. Second moment of area is this one. So it would be non-zero. But if you ask me for first moment of area, it would be 0. So yeah, that is centroid is a point in line, plane, area, volume such that the moment of area about any axis through that point is 0. Yeah, so that is also right. So the answer would be 1, 2 and 3. So the next is consider the following statements regarding laws of friction. Magnitude of the limiting friction, that is Fs max, which is mu Sn. Limiting friction, because here they have the examiner did not mention friction. The mentioned friction is limiting friction. Beer's concept reaction. Yes, if you bring this n here, so this with mu s, it will be constant. Yeah, that is right. Second, the force of friction is independent of the area of contact between the two surfaces. Yes, that's right. The third is force of friction does not depend upon the smoothness, roughness of the surface. No, friction of course depends upon the roughness of the surface. So the right answer would be A, that is 1 and 2. So the next subject, just stay tuned. We are coming with the next subject.
साउंड हो गए? सो गुड इवनिंग स्टूडेंट्स. सो अभी हम देखते हैं फ्लूइड मशीन के बारे में. इस बार ठीक ठाक क्वेश्चन आए हैं. जो हमारा फ्लूइड मशीनरी में जो पहला क्वेश्चन है, ये उसने सेंट्रिफुगल पंप से पूछा है, जहां पर उसने इंपेलर के टाइप पूछे हैं, श्राउडेड, सेमी श्राउडेड और ओपन. श्राउडेड में क्या होता है, जो इंपेलर की ब्लेड होती है वो दोनों साइड से बंद होती है, तो फ्लूइड अपना यहाँ पे बीच में फ्लो करता है. तो ऑब्वियस बात है डियर, जो श्राउडेड इंपेलर होंगे हम वहां पर यूज करेंगे जहां पर फ्लूइड में क्या हो, ज्यादा विस्कोसिटी ना हो. जैसे स्लरी वगैरह में यूज नहीं करेंगे हम, जहां पर एब्रेसिव मटेरियल, जहां पर कंकड़ पत्थर ना हो. ठीक है ना. तो इसका मतलब है ये जो स्टेटमेंट है ये गलत है. क्यों? क्योंकि हम ये वहां पर यूज करेंगे जहां पर जो फ्लूइड है, जैसे वो वाटर है, ऑयल है, ठीक है, उसमें कंक्रीट वगैरह ऐसा कुछ ना हो. सेमी इनक्लोज जो होंगे, सेमी इनक्लोज इंपेलर वहां पर यूज करते हैं जहां पर थोड़ा बहुत लिक्विड, जहां पर लिक्विड के साथ साथ थोड़ा बहुत एब्रेसिव मतलब कंकड़ पत्थर हो, वो चल जाएगा. तो ये स्टेटमेंट एकदम सही है. और जो ओपन वाला होगा डियर, ओपन वाले में क्या होगा, जो ब्लेड होगी, ब्लेड की फ्लो करेगा फ्लो, तो वहां पर अगर स्लरी, कंक्रीट है, अगर उसमें एब्रेसिव मटेरियल भी है, कंकड़ पत्थर भी है, तो वो काम चल जाएगा. ठीक है ना. तो यहाँ पर ये दोनों सही है. कौन सा स्टेटमेंट 2 और 3 एकदम सही है. तो यहाँ पर जो ऑप्शन आएगा डियर, वो ऑप्शन सी आएगा. तो एक्चुअल में ये जो क्वेश्चन है डियर, ये फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन है. तो जिस बच्चे ने थ्योरी बुक में हमारे नोट्स वगैरह में अगर ये देखा होगा, उनसे ये बन गया होगा. स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है. ठीक है. अब इसके बाद ये नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया पेल्टन व्हील से. इस पेल्टन व्हील में उसने पूछा क्या, डायमीटर ऑफ द व्हील. डायमीटर ऑफ द व्हील को हम रिप्रेजेंट किससे करते थे, कैपिटल डी से. ठीक है ना. क्वेश्चन में क्या बोल रहा है, जेट ऑफ वाटर में पेल्टन व्हील हैज अ वेलोसिटी. तो ये वेलोसिटी ऑफ जेट दे दिया उसने, मतलब क्या दे दिया, v1 दे दिया. द रोटेशनल स्पीड मतलब उसने क्या दे दिया डियर, ये n दे दिया हमको, स्पीड दे दी. द रेशियो ऑफ, एक्चुअली देखो यहीं पर बस पूरे का क्वेश्चन है. द रेशियो ऑफ बकेट वेलोसिटी, बकेट वेलोसिटी हम रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं u से, टू जेट वेलोसिटी मतलब v1. इसकी वैल्यू कितनी दे दी, 0.47. तो यहां से डियर u कितना आ जाएगा, v1 है 93 इंटू 0.47. अब यहां पर उसने कैलकुलेशन ये दिया, ये थोड़ी सी उसने कठिन दे दी है.
बट आप में से कुछ बच्चे जो मैं बोलता था कि प्रैक्टिस करते रहना है, अप्रोक्सीमेट आंसर हमको निकालना आना चाहिए, तो ये आ जाएगा डियर 43.71। और वी नो वेरिएबल कि u क्या होता है, नथिंग बट पाई डी एम बाय होता है 60। यहाँ पर स्पीड दे दी है 600 आरपीएम, तो यहाँ पर डियर हम निकाल देंगे क्या, कैपिटल डी, जो कि आएगा 1.39 मीटर। सिंपल है। तो अगर यहाँ पर देखोगे तो ये रहेगा ऑप्शन बी। अब जिस बच्चे ने ड्यूरिंग द होल ईयर, ड्यूरिंग प्रिपरेशन में बोलता भी रहता था कि ये कैलकुलेशन करना सीखो, आंसर थोड़ा सा निकालना सीखो। अब ये देखो डियर, ये बहुत बढ़िया उसने क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया है, ठीक है ना, ये बहुत बढ़िया क्वेश्चन है। इस क्वेश्चन में क्या बोला, पैटर्न हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी, तो उसने हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी दे दी, ईटा से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं। साथ ही उसने कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ वेलोसिटी मतलब हमको क्या दे दिया, सी भी दे दिया। उससे क्या पूछा, व्हील की एफिशिएंसी। व्हील का एफिशिएंसी मतलब यहाँ पर डियर ब्लेड का एफिशिएंसी। व्हील पर क्या होता है डियर, ब्लेड, तो इसको आप चाहो तो ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी भी बोल सकते हो। और ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी अगर आपको याद हो तो मैंने आपको क्या बताया था कि पेल्टियर टरबाइन की जो ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी वो क्या होती है, नथिंग बट रनर पावर डिवाइड बाय एनर्जी एट एंट्री, जो कि होती है हाफ एम वी वन स्क्वायर। और वी नो वेरी वेल कि हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी क्या होती है डियर, हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी होती है नथिंग बट रनर पावर अपॉन वाटर पावर। और ये एफिशिएंसी उसने कितनी दी है, 0.877। तो यहां से मैं सकता हूं रनर पावर इज नथिंग बट हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी 0.877 मल्टीप्लाई बाय वाटर पावर, जो कितना होता है, रोजी क्यू एच। ये एफिशिएंसी का काम करो, यहाँ ब्लेड की एफिशिएंसी में रिप्लेस कर दो, ठीक है ना। तो ये यहाँ पर आप जब देखोगे ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी क्या होती है, रनर पावर। रनर पावर को हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, नथिंग बट 0.877 इनटू वाटर पावर रोजी क्यू एच डिवाइड बाय क्या लिख दोगे, हाफ एम वी वन स्क्वायर। अब यहाँ पर गौर करना एक चीज, आप यहाँ पर आप एक चीज गौर करिएगा कि यहाँ पर मास से ये रो क्यू कैंसिल हो जाएगा। और वी नो वेरी वेल कि ये जो V1 है, इस V1 की वैल्यू क्या होती है, CB टाइम्स अंडर रूट 2G होता है, अगर क्वेश्चन में CB दिया हो तो। और ध्यान रखना ये जो है ये होल स्क्वायर है, ठीक है। तो जब ये होल स्क्वायर अंदर आएगा तो ये ब्रैकेट वाला, सॉरी ये जो अंडर रूट है ये कैंसिल हो जाएगा। तो वहां पर जब अंडर रूट कैंसिल हो जाएगा तो ये 2 से ये 2 चला जाएगा और ये GH से डियर ये GH चला जाएगा। तो जब यहाँ पर आप देखोगे तो ये जो ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी है ये जाएगा 0.877 डिवाइडेड बाय CV स्क्वायर लिया। CV की वैल्यू उसने आपको दी है 0.97 है, तो यहां से आप ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी निकाल देंगे, ब्लेड या व्हील का एफिशिएंसी, ठीक है। तो जब आप ये वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करेंगे डियर तो ये 93.2% के आसपास आएगी। तो इसका मतलब इसका ऑप्शन जो है वो है। ये बहुत अच्छा इनोवेटिव क्वेश्चन है। और अगर आपको याद हो तो क्वेश्चन जब मैं आपको पैल्टन व्हील टरबाइन पढ़ाता हूं, तो जब मैं यहाँ पर आपको बहुत सारी ब्लेड एफिशिएंसी कराता हूं तो वहां पर हम वर्गों के क्वेश्चन करते हैं। उस क्वेश्चन में मैं आपको नोजल एफिशिएंसी, ब्लेड का एफिशिएंसी, ये सारी चीजें निकाल के बताता हूँ। और वहां पर मैंने इस टाइप के फॉर्मूले आपको बताए थे कि कैसे इस हाफ एम वी वन स्क्वायर को हम एम से रो क्यू कैंसिल करेंगे, V1 को CV टाइम रूट 2G करके वहां पर वैल्यू निकालना सिखाएंगे। तो ये भी क्वेश्चन अगर हम बोले तो हम बोल सकते हैं कि ये क्वेश्चन कहाँ से, हमारे वर्कबुक से ही हमारे, सॉरी जो नोटबुक से आया है। अब यहाँ पर क्या बोल रहा है, विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज डिफाइंड एज द रेशियो ऑफ रिएक्शन इफेक्ट एनर्जी ट्रांसफर्ड बाय द स्टैटिक प्रेशर टू द टोटल एनर्जी। अगर आपको याद हो दिया तो डिग्री ऑफ रिएक्शन होता है, उसका हमने डेफिनेशन लिखी है, क्या होता है, इट इज नथिंग बट कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ प्रेशर एनर्जी डिवाइडेड बाय टोटल कंट्रीब्यूशन किसका, काइनेटिक और प्रेशर का। तो एक्चुअल में ये काइनेटिक प्रेशर का कंट्रीब्यूशन डिवाइड बाय दोनों का कंट्रीब्यूशन एक्चुअल में क्या है, डिग्री ऑफ रिएक्शन ही है। तो ये तो सिंपल है। और ये चीज आपने पावर प्लांट में भी पढ़ी होगी क्योंकि ये सेम कॉन्सेप्ट वहां पर भी है। तो ये आई होप कि ये क्वेश्चन आपसे बिल्कुल बन गया होगा, सिंपल क्वेश्चन है। अब यहाँ पर देखो डियर, ये तो इतना सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, इसमें क्या क्या दे दिया आपको, हाइड्रोलिक एफिशिएंसी दे दी और क्या दे दिया, मैकेनिकल एफिशिएंसी दे दी। पूछा क्या है, ओवरऑल। तो ओवरऑल क्या होता है, नथिंग बट, ये तो बहुत ही बेसिक क्वेश्चन है। इतना इजी क्वेश्चन तो मेरे ख्याल से आज तक नहीं आया। तो हाइड्रोलिक मैकेनिकल दोनों का मल्टीप्लाई करो, जब आप 95 और 80 को मल्टीप्लाई करोगे कितना आंसर आएगा, आंसर विल बी व्हाट, 76 आ गया, सिंपल। इसके बाद अगर हम नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन करें तो ये क्वेश्चन तो डियर मैं आपको लिखवाता ही हूँ। जब मैं आपको पैल्टन में सॉरी कैप्लान पॉपुलर टरबाइन पढ़ाता हूँ तो वहां पर जब मैं आपको कुछ थ्योरी पॉइंट लिखवाता हूँ तो वहीं पर लिखाता हूँ कि यहाँ पर जनरली 3 से 8 ब्लेड यूज होते हैं, जो कि फ्रांसिस के 16 से 24 ब्लेड के कंपैरिजन में कम होते हैं। तो यहाँ पर फ्रिक्शन लॉस कम होता है। तो ये तो मैंने आपको फैक्ट लिखवाया ही है, ये तो हमारे नोटबुक में ही है। तो ये भी बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन है। ये जो क्वेश्चन है डियर ये थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है ना। क्यों, क्योंकि ये किसका क्वेश्चन है, ये क्वेश्चन उसने पूछ लिया कहाँ से, रेसिप्रोकेटिंग पंप से। और मैंने आपसे बोला था रेसिप्रोकेटिंग पंप का जब भी एक्सेशन हेड का क्वेश्चन आता है तो यहाँ पर जनरली फॉर्मूले बड़े बड़े होते हैं और कुछ नहीं होता है। अगर हम यहाँ पर देखें तो रेसिप्रोकेटिंग पंप में जो उसने पूछा है वो सबसे पहले क्या पूछा, हैज अ बोर, बोर का मतलब उसने कैपिटल टी दे दिया, ठीक है। हैज अ स्ट्रोक, स्ट्रोक मतलब उसने दे दिया एल। और वी नो दैट एल इक्वल टू क्या होता है 2R। तो यहाँ से अगर आप देखोगे तो R की वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगी 0.11, ठीक है ना, मैं ये वैल्यू सारी यही लिख दे रहा हूँ सो दैट आपको आसानी होगी। एज ए स्पीड, ये आपको स्पीड दे दी एन। द डिलीवरी पाइप, तो ये हमको डिलीवरी पाइप का डाया दे दिया, तो ये हम उसको डी से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, और लेंथ उसने दे दी है डिलीवरी पाइप की जिसको हम एल से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं 30 मीटर। तो डाया हो गया डिलीवरी पाइप का 80 mm और लेंथ हो गई 30। इसको निकालना क्या है, एक्सेलरेशन हेड निकालना है डियर। एक्सेलरेशन हेड का डियर एक फॉर्मूला होता है, डिलीवरी पाइप में जो एक्सेलरेशन हेड होता है उसका एक फॉर्मूला होता है, और वो फॉर्मूला होता है क्या, एल डी अपॉन जी इंटू ए अपॉन ए डी इंटू आर ओमेगा स्क्वायर। यहाँ पर आर होती है क्रैंक रेडियस जो ट्वाइस ऑफ आर होती है, जो हमने यहाँ निकाल दी। तो जब यहाँ पर आप सॉल्व करोगे तो यहाँ पर लेंथ दी है 30 डिवाइड बाय हो जाएगा 9.81 इंटू ये जब एरिया निकालोगे तो ये होगा किसका, पंप का एरिया, तो ये होगा पाई बाई 4। बोर का डायमीटर कितना है 0.12 का स्क्वायर डिवाइडेड बाय ये पाइप का एरिया पाई बाई 4। पाइप का डायमीटर कितना है 80 mm है विच इज 0.08 का स्क्वायर इंटू क्या हो जाएगा आर की वैल्यू 0.11 इंटू ओमेगा क्या होता है 2 पाई इंटू एन 40 डिवाइड बाय 60 इसका होल स्क्वायर। ठीक है ना, तो यहां से डियर ये पाई बाय 4 कैंसिल हो जाएगा। तो ये सिर्फ आपको कैलकुलेशन करना है। ठीक है ना, ये थोड़ा सा लेंथी क्वेश्चन है क्योंकि इसमें डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन में कैलकुलेशन ज्यादा है, इसलिए मैंने आपको बोला था कैलकुलेशन की प्रैक्टिस करनी है आप लोगों को। तो ये है 13.26 मीटर, तो ये रहेगा एक्सेलरेशन हेड। ये थोड़ा सा एकमात्र एक डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है जो यहाँ पर पूछा गया है, और वो क्वेश्चन में थोड़ी सी कैलकुलेशन भी है, साथ ही साथ थोड़ा सा फॉर्मूला भी है। ठीक है ना, इसके बाद डियर एक और क्वेश्चन है ये वाला कि जो पंप होता है सेंट्रिफुगल पंप, उसके आउटलेट पर हम जो फिल्टर लगाते हैं तो रिमूव द कंटेमिनेशन, मतलब जैसे अगर पंप से अगर कोई भी कंटेमिनेट निकल रहा है, वो कंटेमिनेटर कंकड़ पत्थर हो सकता है, कोई डेब्रीज हो सकती है, ठीक है, या पंप का ही कोई पार्ट हो सकता है जो थोड़ा सा उसका निकल रहा हो, तो उससे हम जो डिलीवरी साइड में जो भी कंपोनेंट होते हैं उनको प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हम जो वॉल लगाते हैं, इस वॉल का नाम है डियर प्रेशर लाइन फिल्टर। ये फिल्टर लगा देते हैं, तो ये फिल्टर क्या करता है, जो भी डेब्रीज हैं उन सबको रिमूव करता है। तो बेसिकली अगर आप देखेंगे तो जो नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन जो यहाँ पर हमसे पूछे गए हैं वो कितने पूछे गए हैं, 4 8 क्वेश्चन पूछे गए हैं। आउट ऑफ 8 क्वेश्चन द 6 क्वेश्चन आर डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम अवर क्लासरूम डिस्कशन। 2 क्वेश्चन थे ये वाला और एक रेसिप्यूटिंग पंप वाला, जो क्वेश्चन में आपको थोड़ी सी असुविधा हो सकती है। रेसिप्यूटिंग पंप वाला भी क्वेश्चन आई होप आप में से कुछ बच्चों से, बहुत सारे बच्चों से बन गया होगा। सब एक यही क्वेश्चन हम बोल सकते हैं कि जो थोड़ा सा एक्सेप्ट क्वेश्चन था, जो थोड़ा सा बाहर से आ गया था, क्योंकि मैंने आपको बोला भी है कि कई दफा एग्जाम में कभी कभी एक आध क्वेश्चन एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आ जाता है, जो अगर आपने कहीं पर देखा होगा, पढ़ा होगा, तो आपसे बन जाएगा। तो अगर हम देखें मोटा मोटी, अगर मैं अपने सब्जेक्ट का एनालिसिस करूं तो जो क्वेश्चन से आउट ऑफ 8 क्वेश्चन 6 to 7 क्वेश्चन नॉर्मली सभी बच्चों से बन गए होंगे। सिर्फ एक ये जो क्वेश्चन है इसमें थोड़ा सा अगर आप देखते ना, ये इनलेट लाइन तो ये तो हो नहीं सकता है, रिटर्न लाइन भी नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि रिटर्न लाइन तो जो पानी वापस नहीं जाए उसके लिए, और मैकेनिकल फिल्टर। तो अगर आप थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाते तो आप, हो सकता है कुछ बच्चे कंक्लूजन पे पहुंच जाते कि भाई प्रेशर लाइन फिल्टर होगा। ठीक है ना, तो अगर मैं आपसे बात करूं तो मोर लेस 6 to 7 क्वेश्चन सभी से बन गए होंगे। ठीक है, सो आई होप कि आप लोग बाकी के सब्जेक्ट में भी अपना अच्छा करा होगा। और जो ओवरऑल जो फीडबैक गया है वो जो इस बार के पेपर का है वो है कि पेपर थोड़ा सा लेंथी है, कैलकुलेशन बेस्ड है, और लास्ट ईयर से कंपैरिजन में थोड़ा टफर है। सो वी कैन होप दैट द कट ऑफ मे बी लिटिल बिट लो कंपेयर टू लास्ट ईयर। ओके, सो दिस इज ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड। नाउ स्टे ट्यून फॉर द नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट। ओके, बाय बाय एंड बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
Okay, everyone. So now let us have a very brief discussion on the fluid mechanics part of the paper. As usual, this year also there were 15 questions of fluid mechanics. The paper, a few questions, I will not say all of them, A few questions were quite absurd. They were out of the box, which generally, during our normal classes, we don't focus on those parts, right? So that's why I'm saying that the paper was a bit absurd in that regard, just 3 to 4 questions. Apart from that, few questions were there which you can deal with the help of common sense, right? So common sense is also very, very important. So chalo, let us have a very brief discussion on the fluid mechanics part of the question. So this is a question of internal combustion engines. So your IC engine sir, Amrinder sir would have discussed about this particular question. Yes, now this was a bit, such kind of a question generally you don't deal with. He was actually talking about traction vector. He was actually talking about traction vector, right? So if he is talking about traction vector, then every student must know that what do you actually mean by traction vector. So traction vector का मतलब होता है, it is basically getting developed due to force per area, normal force per unit area, right? That force, surface force, that is developed over the surface per unit area, normal force per unit area, surface force. I'm not talking about the body forces, I'm not talking about the weight, I'm talking about surface force, right? So as soon as you got to know that traction force is basically force per unit area, that is surface force, generally the first thing that is going to come to your mind is the pressure. So and then another thing is shear, because we also study in drag and lift. If a fluid is going to hit like this and shear is, so shear will have two components, right? So if a fluid is hitting a surface something like this, then there are going to be two components, one in the direction and one is perpendicular to the surface. So the shear can also create, traction vector. So basically in this particular question, the traction vector consists of only one contribution related to pressure. Let us read the other, because he is asking which one of the following statement is correct. One statement is correct. The traction vector has two separate contributions of pressure and gravitational. See, I told you gravitation is a body force. Gravitation is a body force, so it is not included. So this option is wrong. The traction vector has two separate contributions from pressure and deformation related to forces. Yes, shear is going to be called as a deformation. So yes, it can be due to pressure, it can be due to the forces which are due to deformation. So what is the correct answer to this particular question? The correct answer to this particular question is C, Chennai, my dear students, right? Let us move on to the next problem. Then he says, what does specific... Now this was a very easy question. If you will see your class notes, all of you are going to find this particular definition in your register. Specific gravity, we all know that specific gravity is going to be density of any fluid divided by the density of the standard fluid. And standard fluid we generally consider as water at 1 atmospheric pressure and 4 degrees Celsius. That is 1000 kg per meter cube, right? Because at 1 atm and 4 degrees Celsius, the density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube. So which of the option is matching to, see, this is atmospheric pressure, right? And 4 degrees Celsius. So it is the ratio of density of liquid, actual density of pure water. So my particular answer to this question is A, Agra. So abhi tak I can understand you might have a confusion in the first question, but second question you can solve very, very easily. Second question, my dear students, you can solve very, very easily, right? Let us move on to the next problem. Now this is a very classical problem. This is a journal bearing problem. This is a journal bearing problem. In every batch of Made Easy, I have taught this particular problem, right? There is an outside cylinder is there. There is an outside cylindrical thing is there. There is an inner cylinder is there. And that inner cylinder is basically rotating at a speed of omega. And there is lubricating oil. So, yaad hoga, if you remember, I always keep on saying Pushtani questions, right? So, what is the formula for torque? 2 pi mu omega r cube divided by h. Just check your register. Just check your register. This is the formula for this particular thing, 2 pi mu L. L is also going, because if you remember from our classroom discussion, how do we actually find out this particular formula which I am talking about? It's very simple. If there is outer cell, you can also do it on the spot. On the spot also you can do it, right? So if it is rotating with an omega, so you know the torque is basically F cross R, and F can be written as mu into area. Area is surface area of the rod, 2 pi R into L, into velocity, rotational velocity R omega divided by H into R. So this is your basically the formula. The one thing you should we are go minus. So when you are going to put all the data into this, the closest answer, the closest answer you are going to get as D Delhi. So when you are going to put all the data in this, you are going to get the answer as D Delhi, closest answer to D Delhi. Now, there can be a confusion in this particular question, that is question number 6464, right? Consider the following statement regarding pressure measurement. Pressure is usually expressed with reference to absolute zero pressure. That is wonderful, that is correct. Absolute pressure is the pressure expressed as a difference between its value. Its value means the real value of pressure. Real value of pressure with respect to absolute, that is correct. So absolute means that you are measuring the value of something with respect to zero. So therefore, right, it is you are measuring anything with respect to zero. इसी बात को कहने का एक और तरीका इस तरीके से हो सकता है कि it is the difference between the real value and the absolute zero. So second statement according to me is correct. When a pressure is expressed as a difference between the value and the local atmosphere, it is known as gauge pressure. It is correct, right? So what is my answer? The answer to this particular question is D Delhi, because he is asking which one is correct, right? So answer is D Delhi, because this is question number 6464, right? Let us go for question number 65 here. Now see, there is this term thermal stratification. We haven't heard about this particular term. Generally in our day-to-day life, we don't hear about this particular term, that is thermal stratification, right? So thermal stratification refers to layering of the fluid element that occurs due to the density gradient created due to the change in temperature. Yes, this is correct, because actually the thermal stratification takes place due to this only. Thermally stratified layer can make the flow irrotational from rotational. See, thermal stratification can't do anything like this, that it can convert an irrotational flow to a rotational flow. Originally, irrotational flow may become rotational due to presence of that is correct. Coriolis you study in theory of machines, so it is with respect to the rotation. So yes, I can understand thermal stratification word we generally don't listen to in fluid mechanics, but definitely with the help of common sense we can come to a that my answer can be C Chennai. My answer can be C Chennai, right? Next. Now this was an easy question. A venturi meter is less accurate than orifice meter. So one statement to galat hi hai. Venturi meter is more accurate. An orifice meter is a thin circular plate with sharp edge considered. That is correct. The stagnation pressure at this is measured when brought to rest isentropically. That is correct. So the answer to this particular question is 2 and 3. This is 66. The answer is C Chennai. The answer is C Chennai, right? Next. Consider the following statement regarding dynamic inviscosity. Over the years, the paper of fluid mechanics is like this only, that you will be able to solve only 70 to 80% of the questions which are coming in the paper. So don't get demotivated by the fact, because you're listening to some newer terms, thermal stratification, traction vector, 2 questions are there, na, like that. Consider following statement regarding dynamics of inviscid flow. Yes, Euler's equation describes the inviscid flow. That is correct. Flows having only tangential velocity with streamlines and convective are known as plane circular. Yes, that are going to have circular streamlines. Na, vortex motion. A free vortex flow is a rotational vortex. No. A free vortex is an irrotational vortex. So here itself this statement is wrong. So my correct answer is 1 and 2 only are correct. 1 and 2 only are correct. So my correct option here is B, Bombay is my correct option, right? Let us move on to the next question. And if you are talking about rotational vortex, free vortex if you are talking about, then the governing equation is VR is equal to constant, right? So V and R are not directly proportional, they are inversely proportional in free vortex. Consider the following regarding turbulent flow. The most important characteristics of turbulent motion is the fact that velocity and pressure at a point fluctuate. Everybody knows this is the meaning of turbulent flow itself. That's why you do it, you break it into two parts, average component and the fluctuating component. Turbulence generated is constantly affected by fixed walls is designated as free turbulence. Now this is wrong, na? That is called as wall turbulence. So this the third and the second statement are wrong, because the turbulence which is happening between the layers is called as free turbulence, right? Whereas close to the wall it is called as wall turbulence, not free turbulence. But he has interchanged the two. So the correct answer to question number 6868 is option A, Agra is the correct answer. So this was more of a common sense type of a question. Against the wall, it should be wall shear stress, no? Wall turbulence. Laminar turbulent transition के बारे में he is asking. The turbulent boundary layer continues to grow in thickness with a small region called as viscous sublayer, that is called as laminar sublayer, that is correct. And it continues to grow, that is also correct, because delta is proportional to x to the power 0.8, so it will keep on increasing. So the first statement is correct. In the viscous sublayer, the flow is well behaved, just as the turbulent boundary layer. How can it be? Because in turbulent boundary layer there are huge order eddies are formed. So this statement is completely wrong. If two statement is wrong, then either this is your answer or either this is your answer. Let us check. The possibility of instability in boundary layer was felt by Prandtl. Yes. He was the first person who gave the concept of instability in turbulent flow. So again a common sense type of a question. 1, 3 are correct. So the answer will be B, Bombay to question number 6969. Let us move forward. Consider regarding correlation functions. Now this is something new. You haven't heard about correlation functions, my dear students. So don't worry. There are two questions. 2 to 3 questions I told you were nobody knows, right? Because generally in our normal classroom we don't have a very deep discussion on these kind of things which have been asked in this particular problem. So the correct answer to this particular question is B, Bombay. Reveal that the turbulent motion is composed of eddies which are convected by the mean motion. This is correct. This is the meaning of or the the final summary of the correlation studies. The size of the large as that are comparable to the flow dimensions. That is also correct, but this is wrong. So the correct answer to this question was B, Bombay, right? Next. Now this was a simple question, but unfortunately the answer wouldn't have been matching. So everybody knows wall shear stress, the common formula rho F V square by 8. If you are taking this F as friction factor. But sometimes what happens is that we use the formula rho F V square by 2. If you are taking this as friction coefficient. Right. So when you are going to put all the data, because wall shear stress is given, everything is given, you are going to solve this particular formula, then you are going to get the closest answer, right? You are going to get the closest answer to be D Delhi. You are going to get the closest answer to be D Delhi. Though I can because I have solved the complete question and none of the answer was matching. I have tried with both the ways, none of the answer was matching, right? So I think there is some unit mistake here. I think there is some unit mistake that has been done because none of the answer was matching. So I will put this particular question into I wouldn't have attempted in the paper. Next, consider regarding friction factor. In turbulent flow, friction factor depends on both Reynolds number and the roughness in the pipe. That is correct. Moody's diagram can be used for predicting the values of friction factor. That is also correct. Roughness in a commercial pipe is due to protrusions. Of course, roughness is going to be that only. Roughness is going to be that only. So all the three statements here are correct, that the answer is D, Delhi. The answer is D, Delhi. Critical value of Reynolds number at which the boundary layer changes does not depend on. So it actually doesn't depend on the flow velocity, because he is not talking about Reynolds number. He is talking about that for transition from laminar to turbulent, what are the factors on which it is going to not depend upon, right? So according to me, the answer to this particular question is D, Delhi. Okay, so with this I end up the discussion of fluid mechanics, though the questions were so see, there were 15 questions in totality. Out of those questions, 3 to 4 questions, the language, there were some newer terms were there that you won't be able to do. But according to me, out of 15 questions, you would have been able to solve with common sense, with IQ and with your classroom notes. You would have been able to solve 11 to 12 questions, right? So that is my judgment on the fluid mechanics part of the paper. God bless you.
So good evening, my dear friends. So today I am going to discuss the strength of material as well as the machine design questions. So overall, from strength of material there are 13 questions are there, and machine design 9 questions are there. Based upon my experience by seeing all the previous years, that is up to 2025, this year strength of material questions are very simple. Directly can answer it. Strength of material questions are very simple, and machine design questions are moderate level are there. So those you have attended directly can answer the strength of material questions, and those you have attended both strength of material and machine design of my classes, they can solve all the questions. So when compared to other subjects, this year strength of material and machine design question, especially the strength of material questions are very, I can call it the average level, I can call it below average also I can call it. Machine design is going to be moderate level. So without wasting the time, I'll go for the first question in the strength of material. So this is the first question. A line shaft rotating at 200 RPM is to transmit 20 kilowatts. Power दिया था, RPM दिया था, and shaft is assumed to be mild steel with an allowable shear stress of 42 megapascal. What is the torque transmitted? Power is given, RPM is given, then directly can calculate the torque now. Options are given in kilonewton meters is asking them. Torque units are asking in terms of kilonewton meters. Generally in my class I written the 10 to the power of 6 if the units are in Newton mm, but here is what Newton meters में पूछा था. Then you have to put it the what power into 60 upon 2 pi n. So directly can substitute it, you will get the answer now. Power is how much is now 20. RPM is 200. So option is asking in terms of the pi is asking, then you are getting this is 3 pi kilonewton meter. So the answer is C. 1 minute. Answer is D. Answer for this question is D. So sometime extra data is given now. This allowable shear stress, there is no data, use of this data now. This is extra data. So there is a simple question, answer is going to be Delhi. We will go for the next question. When designing machine parts, it is desirable to keep the stress lower than the maximum stress at which the failure of the material takes place. The stress is known as either machine components parts बोला था, डिफॉल्ट आपने डक्टाइल मटेरियल लेना है. सो फॉर डक्टाइल मटेरियल के लिए परमिसिबल स्ट्रेस क्या है? फेल्यूर स्ट्रेस अपॉन फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी. फेल्यूर स्ट्रेस इज व्हाट नाउ? आइदर यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ, अल्टीमेट स्ट्रेंथ एंड एंड्योरेंस लिमिट. डिफॉल्ट फॉर स्टैटिक लोडिंग. स्टैटिक लोडिंग डक्टाइल मटेरियल के लिए यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ द फेल्यूर स्ट्रेस. So whenever it's not mentioned machine components means you have to go for the yield strength लेना है. So the answer is C. So the answer for this question is going to be C. 114. 14th question answer is C. And 115 question number 115. The maximum principal or normal stress in a biaxial state of stress for ductile material where SY is the yield point stress in tension, sigma is the ultimate stress and Fs is the factor of safety. So as per the maximum principal stress theory, sigma 1 should be so this is for ductile material, this is for the brittle material. So this is for but in the question is mentioning the what a ductile material mention किया था. So sigma 1 should be less than SYT upon factor of safety. So the answer is A. So answer for this question is 115. Answer is A. Now, so this is from theories of failure. What is the type of theory in which the failure or yielding occurs at a point in a member when the strain energy per unit volume in a biaxial state of stress reaches the limiting strain energy, that is the strain energy at the yield point per unit volume is known as. So directly this theory is nothing but what the total strain energy theory. So this is a condition for what the safe design as per total strain energy theory. क्लास में इतना बार बोला था आपने नेम ऑफ द थ्योरीज ऑफ फेल्यूर को याद रखना है और साइंटिस्ट नेम भी याद रखना है. अनदर नेम फॉर टोटल स्ट्रेन एनर्जी थ्योरी द हेस थ्योरी. सो द आंसर इज ए. Total strain energy theory is also called as a Hayes theory. So answer for this question is A. Next we are coming to the 126. A piece of copper originally 305 mm long. Initial length दिया था and is pulled in tension with a stress of 260. So axial stress भी दिया था. And if the deformation is entirely elastic, what is the resultant elongation? And Young's modulus for copper दिया था 110 gigapascal दिया था. Then directly what now? Change in length is PL by AE. But axial load नहीं दिया था, area नहीं दिया था. So this is nothing but what now? Axial stress. So this can be written as so directly can substitute it. Axial stress value कितना दिया था? 276. Length कितना दिया था? 305. And Young's modulus मेगापास्कल में सब्स्टिट्यूट करना. लेंथ mm में लिया था. So 1 gigapascal 10 cube megapascals. So this value you are getting 0.765 mm. Now if I can see the options now, option B is correct now. Option B is incorrect now. Sir, option B is correct now. So the answer for the question number 126 is Bombay. Now this is what is the extension delta for a uniformly tapered bar of length L with a diameter D1 at one end and diameter D2 at other end when the member is subject to the axial tensile load P. Young's modulus. Directly change in length expression पूछ रहे for a tapered bar under axial load में. When a tapered bar whose diameter is varying from D1 to D2 over a length of L and subject to pure axial loading. So change in length expression is 4PL upon pi D1 D2 E. So equation याद रखना पड़ेगा. So that directly can get it now. So answer is A. Change in length for a tapered bar is under pure axial load is 4PL upon pi D1 D2 E. So answer for this question is A. Question number 138. And now we'll come for the question number 139. This is from the thermal stresses chapter. Consider the following statement regarding thermal stresses. If the temperature change is uniform throughout the body, that is what now? Uniform change in temperature hai, then strain is also uniform. When the change in temperature is uniform, stress also uniform and strain is also uniform. So this statement is correct. If the thermal deformation is permitted occur freely, no internal forces means no stress will be induced in the body and there is no strain and stress. So under free expansion पूछ रहे, under free expansion में stress zero रहता है, strain रहता है, but क्या पूछा था, क्या दिया था क्वेश्चन पे? There is no strain and there is no stress. So under free expansion dimension change होता है, कभी भी dimension change हो जाए तो strain रहता है, stress zero रहता है. So this statement is गलत है. Under free deformation stress is zero, strain is non-zero. Next, third question, third statement. If the deformation of a body is restricted either totally or partially, internal forces will develop opposite to the thermal expansion or contraction. The stresses caused by these internal forces are known as thermal stress. So whenever a thermal expansion is there, thermal stress is a compressive nature. Thermal contraction is there, thermal stress is tensile. So the nature of the what? The thermal stress is opposite to the nature of thermal deformation. Thermal expansion है तो stress, thermal stress compressive रहता है, and thermal contraction रहे तो stress tensile रहता है. Therefore this statement is correct now. So 1 and 3 are correct now. So answer for this question is C. Question number 139, answer is C. Now, question number 140 is a straightforward. The bendiment that tends to bend the beam to produce convexity above the center line is known as. This is a straightforward question. This type of question never is expected in the GATE and ESE. This is a straight. Generally, you are going to get the SSC or state service exams now. So, convexity. So, whenever a convexity upwards, then it is called as what? A hogging. So, this is known as hogging. Under hogging, shape of the beam after bending is what? A convex is upward. Sagging, concave is upward. That's why I already mentioned this tier paper questions are very, very simple. Next question 141. The type of bending that occurs between two supports of an overhanging beam with constant bendiment and no shear stress between the supports and carries equal amount of point load at each end. So whenever a bendiment is constant between the two supports now, shear force is 0. Then it is called as what? A pure bending. Pure bending means bendiment is constant and shear force 0. When a overhanging beam subjected to constant point load at the extreme end, दो supports के बीच में बेंडिमेंट कांस्टेंट रहता है. बेंडिमेंट कांस्टेंट रहे तो shear force 0 होता है. इसको प्योर बेंडिंग बोलेगा. So answer is A. Question number 141 is A. Next, this is from pressure vessels, thin pressure vessel. A seamless pipe of 80 centimeter diameter contains fluid under pressure of 20 kg per cm square. If the permissible tensile stress 1000 kg per cm square, what is the minimum thickness? Then directly what now? Maximum stress should be less than or equal to permissible stress. That is the hoop stress, the maximum. Hoop stress should be less than or equal to what the hoop stress expression now? PD by 2T, and permissible stress how much is given? 100. Now you can substitute it now. Pressure is 20. Diameter is 80. Then you can calculate the thickness now. So the thickness value you are getting so the minimum thickness is 0.8 centimeters. Then option A is correct now. Option A is correct now. Next, question number 145. Consider the following statement regarding simple stress and strains now. The limit of proportionality is the limiting value of stress up to which the stress is proportional to strain. That is a correct now. Hooke's law. Hooke's law. What is the proportional limit now? It is the maximum stress up to which material obeys Hooke's law. That is stress is proportional to strain. First statement is correct now. Upper yield point is the stage at which the stress remains same, but strain increases for some time. This is incorrect now. This is valid at lower yield point. Lower yield point by stress constant रहता है. Upper yield point by stress constant नहीं रहेगा. So this statement is गलत है. The stress at which the specimen finally fails is known as breaking point. So this statement is correct. So answer is 1 and 3. So answer for this question is going to be C. Answer is C. Next, question number 146. Consider the following statement regarding the beams now. Proper cantilever beam with one end fixed, other end is what is simply supported now. Correct now. And overhanging beam is a beam with projections beyond the supports now. So this statement is also correct now. So answers are A. So very, very simple questions. Overall, based upon my 30 years of experience, I have never seen this much of simple question from the strength of material now. We'll come for the last question. A circular steel pipe is used as a simply supported beam over an effective span of 2 meter. Span of the simply support beam दिया था. Maximum bendiment दिया था. And what is the maximum constant point load? A simply support beam subjected to constant point load at the mid span. Then maximum bendiment दिया था and is asking what is the value of the constant point load. When a simply support beam subjected a point load at the mid span, the maximum bendiment is WL by 4. So maximum bendiment is given as 2261 Newton meters. W is unknown. L is the span. Span is 2 meters. 4. So from this one, W value is 4522. In the options is given kilonewtons. So the answer is Delhi. So these are the answer for the strength of material. There are 13 questions. They are very, very simple. Now we'll come for the machine design. We'll discuss continuation. Question number 92. It is from the Lewis equation पूछा था. Consider the following statement regarding the gate tooth. The beam strength of a gate tooth is determined from Lewis equation. This statement is correct now. Beam strength is always obtained from the Lewis equation now. The load carrying capability of the toothed gates is determined by Lewis equation, gives safe results now. This statement is also correct now. Lewis assumed that the load is being transmitted from one gate to another. It is all given and taken by several tools. This statement is incorrect now. In Lewis equation, what is the assumption is made? Now contact ratio is taken as 1. Means at a given time, only one pair of tooth is in contact now. So this statement is galat hai. So this is based upon the Lewis assumption. In Lewis assumption, he has taken the contact ratio as 1. But he has given what now? The load is taken care by the several tooth. So the teeth. So this statement is galat hai. So the answer is A. Answer for the question is A. Next, consider following statement regarding the heat generated in a journal bearing. Journal bearing के बारे में पूछा था. For a well-designed bearing, the temperature of the oil film should be more than 100 degrees centigrade. Otherwise, the viscosity of the oil decreases rapidly, and the operation of the bearing is found to be suffer. So this statement is galat hai. The temperature of the oil film is often is called the operating temperature. No, this statement is correct. So those who are thorough with the journal bearing principle, no, directly can tell it now. In case the temperature of the oil film is higher, if the temperature very high, that is what now heat generation is what now is greater than heat dissipated. Then the bearing is cooled by circulating water through coils built within the bearing. Whenever heat generated is more than heat dissipated, then you need a coolant oil is required now. So 2 and 3. So answer is C. So this is the answer for the question number 93. Next, for a single row deep groove ball bearing, question number 94. Previous question is from journal bearing. This is from anti-friction bearing now. With a radial load of 4000 newtons, axial load दिया था, operating speed दिया था, average life is 5 years at 10 hours per day. Its average life is given, that L90 is given, 10 hours per day, assuming uniform and steady load, and 300 working days per year now. What is the life of the bearing now? So options is asking, in hours only is asking now. L50 5 years बोला था, and each year how many working days बोला था? 300. Then per day 10 hours दिया था, per day 10 hours दिया था. So this is the hours into minutes, minutes into revolution, then divided by 10 to the power of 6. But options is asking in hours only. Is a L50, that is the average life. But generally life of the bearing means nominal life लेना पड़ता है. But nominal life is what now? L50 equal to 5 times the L90. Generally life of the bearing means nominal life लेना पड़ता है. Then it is a 3000 hours लेना है. But there is no option of 3000. Means indirectly a life of the bearing means it is life of the bearing means is asking only L50. So in the question is asking what, sometimes you have to decide the answer based upon the options you have to see it now. So the life of the bearing means you have to consider the average life only. So then answer is 15,000. So this L50 is representing average life. If nominal life or rated life पूछे तो अपने 3000 hours लेना पड़ता है. So the answer for this question is C. Answer is C. So there is an explanation for question number 94. Next, which type of clutches are frequently applied for sprocket wheels, gears and pulleys now? So in this case you need a what now? Positive clutch is required. Positive clutch is required. So jaw clutch is used now. In the gears are what now? Positive drive. So here you need a positive clutch is required now. So jaw clutches are the positive clutches. But what about these plate clutches? These are all what now? Slip clutches. These are the slip clutches. Positive clutch बोले तो jaw clutch लेना पड़ेगा. So answer for this question is A. Next, match the following list with relation between endurance limit and ultimate strength. So it's asking what is the relation between endurance limit and ultimate strength. Steel, cast steel and cast iron. Always for steel. Steel, what the endurance limit now? 0.5 times the SUT. For steels, endurance limit is steels. So now if you can see the option now, P. So P1. P1. So if I can see the option now, P1. So directly can go for B. Then cast steel का endurance limit cast iron से ज़्यादा रहता है, because steel का strength हमेशा cast iron से ज़्यादा रहता है. So therefore, so this is 2. This is 3. So for cast steels, endurance limit is 0.5 times the SUT, cast steel is 0.4 times the SUT, and cast iron is 0.35 times the SUT. So the answer for this question is Bombay. Next, consider the following statement regarding the stress concentration. the maximum stress occurs at a point in the fillet is directly parallel to the boundary at that point. So this statement is going to be what now? Question number 117 now. Next, stress concentration. This statement is correct now. Next, stress concentration occur for all kinds of stress in the presence of fillets. So always in presence of discontinuity, stress concentration will occur now. Next, what about the third statement now? In a member with different cross section under tensile load, the material near the edges stressed considerably higher than the average value. So whenever a discontinuity is there now, maximum stress, that is the stress concentration occur near the discontinuity. But here what is mentioned now? Near the edges. Therefore this is galat hai. So third statement is galat hai. So out of these three statements, 1 and 2 are correct now. So answer is A. So for question number 117, answer is going to be A. Next, consider the following statement regarding the factors to be considered while designing the machine parts to avoid fatigue failure. The variation in the size of a component should be gradual. So whenever what to avoid the fatigue failure, dimension should gradually change now. So this statement is correct now. The holes and notches other should be avoided. This statement is also correct now. So whenever a discontinuities are there, now stress concentration is more now. When more stress concentration, more chance of fatigue failures now. And what about the third statement now? Residual tensile stresses over the parts surface increases the fatigues. In this statement is galat hai. In presence of residual compressive stress, fatigue strength बढ़ जाता है. Residual compressive stress are useful, but residual tensile stress are harmful. By chance residual compressive stress दिए तो this statement is सही है, correct है. But residual tensile पूछा था. So to increase the fatigue life, you have to provide the what residual compressive stresses. So answer is once again A. Once again A. 118. Next, it is from riveted joint now. A double riveted double cover butt joint in plates 20 mm thick, made with 25 mm diameter rivets, 100 mm pitch. The permissible stress sigma T permissible 120. What the tearing resistance, that is tensile strength of the plate पूछा था. PT is equal to P minus if width is given, you have to calculate the for entire plate now, then you have to take the width now. Pitch is given, then you have to, this calculation is per pitch length now, per pitch length. So pitch is how much is given now? Pitch is given 100 mm now. Diameter of the hole equal to diameter of the rivet plus clearance. There is no clearance नहीं दिया था. So what the diameter of the rivet now? Diameter of the rivet is 25. Clearance नहीं दिया था, 0 लेना पड़ता है. Thickness is 20 and permissible tensile stress is 120. So complete this calculation, then this is 180,000 newtons. So this is 180 kilonewtons. So answer is A. So question number 119, answer is A. Next, question number 120. Consider following statement regarding the design of nut. When bolt and nut is made of mild steel, दोनों same material है तो effective height of the nut is made equal to the nominal diameter of the bolt. This is correct now. Whenever bolt material and the nut materials are same, the height of the nut should be equal to nominal diameter of the bolt. That is the correct now. If the nut is made of weaker material than the bolt, then height of the nut should be smaller. This is galat hai. In this case, height of the nut should be equal to height of the nut should be equal to 1.5 to 2 times the diameter of the major diameter of the bolt or nominal diameter. Therefore, this statement is galat hai. And last statement, in case of cast iron and aluminum are what now? Softer material, that is cast iron means you have to take the grey cast iron. Nut is used when threads are permissible only for permanent fastening. Here permanent fastening means that is what a joint should be joined only once now. That frequent dismantling is not required. Every time what the nut and bolts are temporary fastener hai. But here what the meaning of permanent fastening means what now? Where the frequent dismantling is not required. Frequent dismantling is not required now. Because threads in these materials are damaged due to repeated screwing, unscrewing now. If you are frequently what now? Unscrew it, what happens now? Because these V threads, these are the softer material, they are get damaged now. So this statement is correct hai. So the answer is 1 and 3. So this wording is incorrect now. Permanent fastener means generally what now? Welds and rivet. Here permanent fastener means bolts only, but that is what now? Where frequent dismantling and assembly is not required now. So I have to join it only one. I need not need the frequent dismantling is not required. In that case, then only V thread should be used now. So these are the answer for the machine design questions. In machine design also all are theory question. Only 2 questions are numerical calculations are there. Machine design questions also simple now. I hope those who attend my classes, they might have done all these questions are correct now. So thank you one and all. God bless you.
Yeah, good evening to all of you. I hope you did well in the exam. We'll see some of the questions in production engineering along with Gujan sir. We'll start with manufacturing first. This bar, they have given in production pura theory questions, casting related questions they have given. Very simple questions are given. Look at this question, question number 96. Consider the following statements regarding metal casting process and equipment. First statement, expendable molds typically are made of sand, plaster, ceramic and similar materials and are generally mixed with various binders. To get the bond between the silica sand, we are using different binders. Expendable ka matlab kya hai? This mold can be used only once. It is a sand mold we can consider. It is used only once. It is a correct statement only because sand is there, plaster, ceramic and other materials are there. They are bonded with the binder. First statement is exactly correct. Second statement, permanent molds are made of metals that maintain their strength at high temperature. Mold cavity is produced by metallic material that we can call it as permanent mold. If you fill the metal into this one, even by getting the metal heat also, they will maintain the same strength at high temperature also. That is the advantage of going for permanent mold. It is also size statement here. Next, third one. A typical sand mold consists of 50% sand, 30% clay and 20% water. Small difference is there actually. Here silica sand will be there around 70 to 85% and this sand, molding sand, and we can say clay 10 to 20% will be there, and we can say water is around 2 to 8%. Even you can say 1 to 6%, or resin binders, or we can say additives will be added to get some specific properties to the molding sand. So as per these ratios, if we consider percentages, this is a dollar statement. First and second statements are correct. Option A is correct. So next is question number 2, also related to casting only. Consider the following statement regarding sand casting. Typical applications of sand casting include large turbine impellers and propellers. So generally, sand molding technique is used to produce very large size molds, very large size castings. Like turbine impellers and propellers are generally large size, complex shapes. They can be easily produced by sand molding technique. If you say turbine blades, like gas turbine blades, they are produced by investment casting technique. So we can say complex shape of the objects, large size objects are generally produced by sand molding technique. It is a correct statement. Next, second one, most sand casting operations use silica sand as the molding material. So ordinary sand molding technique, silica is the major molding material because it is easily available, its cost will be less, it is having sufficient refractiveness temperature, 1710 degrees centigrade, the refractiveness temperature of the silica sand. So second statement is also correct. Third one. Sand having fine round grains can be packed closely and thus forms a smooth mold surface. Generally around the cavity we are providing facing sand, which will consist of fine grained sand along with the coal dust material. Fine grained sand will be getting compacted easily, so that we are expecting smooth surface finish at the inside of the cavity. In turn, it will reflect better surface finish over the casting. So this is also correct statement is there. So first 1, 2, 3, 3 statements will be correct. Option D is correct here in this question number 97. You can think of this is a question, it is also related to casting. Consider the following statements regarding molds in sand casting. Two pieces of mold consist of drag on top and cope at the bottom. It is given reversely. So in a 2-box mold system, generally top portion will be called as what? Cope box. Bottom portion is called what? Drag box. Cope box, drag box we can consider. And the separation is called parting line. It's a very basic statement, basic level question this one. Through the sprue, molten metal flows downwards. Generally, sprue is in vertical position. Liquid metal is allowed to pass through the sprue in downward direction from top to bottom. That's why sprue is also known as a down sprue. It is a correct statement. So first statement is correct. Second is also correct. Riser supply additional molten metal to the casting as it shrinks during solidification. When we allow the liquid metal to solidify in the cavity during the solidification, liquid and solidification state, there is a chance of shrinkage will be there, due to which some metal volume is getting contracted at the center of the cavity. To compensate that, we are providing riser. We will store some liquid metal in the riser. Through the riser, we are supplying the liquid metal to compensate liquid and solidification shrinkage. So that is exactly correct statement. Here also 3 statements are correct. Option D. Very simple questions are given. All are theory questions only. Very easily we can answer these 3 questions with respect to casting. And this question you can see which one of the following process is used to reduce vibrations and chatter in machining operations. Generally, vibration while doing machining operation, like lathe milling machines, we are expecting some vibrations. When the vibrations are transferred to this workpiece material, accuracy and surface finish of the workpiece will be getting deteriorated. So to absorb those particular vibrations, we can provide what? Damping process, dampers can be provided just like shock absorbers. Or we can provide machine tool bed, that is made up of grey cast iron, so that it is having excellent damping property to absorb the vibrations. So I think I can say a damping process is the correct option. Option B is correct. So rest of the questions, Gunjan sir will continue. Sir, please.
Okay. So look at this question. This question is directly from the cutting fluid, and we can apply the elimination technique. What says the emulsions are used for low speed operations. So basically we use or we require emulsions at high speed operations, not the low speed operations. So generally if you eliminate 2 from all the answers, so what you get is 1 and 3 only. So the correct answer for this is Chennai. Moving ahead. Now look at this question. This is basically from, we can say it's robotics or metrology, we can connect those things. Resolution. Resolution is the smallest change, difference of change in dimensions that the measuring instrument can detect. Okay, so we call it that the unit resolution value. For example, if we talk about, let's say, micrometer, so what is the minimum value that it can measure? So that is known as resolution. Okay, so it is absolutely correct. Then whenever we talk about precision, it means the degree of repeatability, is the degree of which the instrument gives repeated measurements. So both the statements are absolutely correct. The correct answer is both 1 and 2. Moving ahead, now look at this question. In turning process, the workpiece is rotated and a cutting tool removes a layer of material. Absolutely correct. We all know that in a turning process, we have this workpiece. So this undergoes revolution and the tool removes the layer. Okay, so this is correct. Now in slab milling process, a rotating cutting tool removes a layer of material from the surface. So we all know that in a slab milling process, let's say we have a slab milling process and this is the workpiece, right? So this is the horizontal spindle rotation, control will be there and the material will be removed layer by layer. Okay, so that is second is absolutely correct. Now look at this third question. In end milling process, the cutting tool moves radially inwards. Okay, now what do you mean by radially inwards? Let us say this is the cutter. Okay, and this is the workpiece. So if the cutter is moving radially inwards, that means this will go in this direction. This is the radial movement. So radial movement is not there for the cutter in end milling. In end milling, we all know that this is the end mill cutter along with the vertical spindle rotation. So it will use the periphery for cutting the material. Okay, it will not go radially. Okay, radially cut is observed in saw milling. So we see that the cutter is radially penetrating into the workpiece, okay, along the thickness. So that is incorrect. This third statement is incorrect. So the correct answer will be 1 and 2. Okay. Moving ahead, again, I was talking about this saw milling process. Okay. So look at this. Sawing. Okay. Sawing basically means saw milling. Now, vertical band saws. Vertical band saws, although this question is not, this concept is not which is generally elaborated and discussed in a general practice, but anyways, we can solve this one. Okay, now look here. Vertical band saws. So we have this vertical band saws. So this is the saw cutter, and this is the vertical bands. Okay, and now we have the workpiece over here, right, placed on a table, and the movement of the workpiece can be controlled horizontally, and these cutters will be cutting the workpiece in a radially like this. So it says vertical band saws are used for straight as well as contour cutting. So contour cutting is possible because the workpiece, the position of the workpiece can be positioned. You can manually position the workpiece. So therefore contour cutting is also possible. At the same time straight cutting is anyways possible. Okay, for flat sheets and other parts. This is correct. First one is correct. The second one, when we talk about friction sawing, so you would have seen a saw cutter. Okay, and this saw cutter is rotating at a high speed, basically made up of mild steel saw blades, and when it rotates at a high speed, then we develop some high temperatures. You see some sparkles, some chingari kind of thing that is coming out of the the interaction of the workpiece and the cutter will be there, and you will see due to the friction and the high amount of heat developed, the material will be removed. So friction sawing is a process in which a mild steel blade rubs against the workpiece at a speed of up to 7600 meter per minute. Okay, now this is friction sawing. This is also correct. Now what is not correct is that friction sawing process is suitable for non-ferrous. It is not for non-ferrous. It's basically for ferrous materials. This is the one catch that we have to identify here. So correct answer is again 1 and 2 only. So okay, so we're done with the questions of manufacturing. Now we'll come again for the questions of robotics and the mechatronics. In which of the following, this is the question from robotics, in which of the following robots it positions the wrist through two rotations and one linear actuation? Okay, so basically we have R, and P. So RRP is available in which robot? Polar robot. So we have to position the robot carrying the revolute and prismatic combination. So correct answer is Delhi, polar coordinate robot. Then moving ahead, which of the following is an application of the continuous path? So continuous path operations are also known as contouring operations. Now, a lot of students may find that, okay, pick and place can also be the answer, but no. Pick and place is basically for point-to-point robot. So when we talk about continuous path robots, so we can perform spray painting, welding, and all those operations which require continuous path movements or contouring. So tracing of contours will be the correct answer for this particular question. So these two questions are from robotics. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good evening, friends. Here we are having a few questions from material science, and we are proceeding with that. The first question that we come across here is the one which is belonging to the question number 98. It says a few statements about thermal tempering process. The statements are like this. In a thermal tempering process, the surfaces of hot glass are cooled rapidly by blast air. Every one of you must be knowing that this is a topic, this is a question that comes from the topic on ceramics, normally covered in general studies of material science, wherein we study that thermal tempering of glass is carried out for the purpose of improving its shock resistance and toughness. Now, normally what happens is in thermal tempering process, glass is heated to about 650 degrees centigrade to 700 degrees centigrade, and then on the surface, using high pressure air, cooling is being done. Now, what exactly happens is, well, if the glass is having low thermal conductivity levels, and because of the low thermal conductivity levels, the surface and the interior of the glass will be subjected to differential cooling rates. Due to these differential cooling rates, the compressive residual stresses will be induced on the surface, and in the presence of surface compressive residual stresses, crack propagation is going to get delayed and it is going to be diverted. Because of this, whenever a glass comes across impact load, it will undergo shattering into small pieces instead of breaking into large sized pieces, and therefore it will prevent the any endangering of life of the people who are nearby in its vicinity. So let us try to understand that is basically what is thermal tempering process. So first statement, as you have observed, is correct. And then second statement says the higher the coefficient of thermal expansion of the glass and higher its thermal conductivity, lower will be the level of residual stresses developed. This is correct. If the thermal conductivity is lower, normally for glasses thermal conductivity is lower, and this lower thermal conductivity facilitates inducement of residual stresses. Higher the thermal conductivity, there will be the heat will be, heat content of the glass will be cooled quickly, and the significant temperature gradient will not be established between the surface and the core, and because of this, the residual stresses development will not happen effectively, hence the glass becomes weaker due to higher thermal conductivity. This is also correct statement. Third statement says, because of high amount of energy stored in the residual stresses, tempered glass shatters into, this is also a correct statement. Now, as you have observed these statements, you must be noting that the three statements are right statements, and hence we are recommending the correct answer as D. The next question that comes here is question number 121. Atomic packing factor for a face-centered cubic crystal structure is. This is a standard value and no need of any derivation during this explanation process. So we are proceeding with the correct answer for FCC crystal structure atomic packing factor 0.75. The next question is question number 122. There are certain statements that are given here. And you are asked to identify which of them are correct, right? Zinc has a face-centered cubic structure. This is an incorrect statement. You all know that from the basics of crystallography that zinc is HCP. So statement number 1 is not correct. Statement number 2, lead has face-centered cubic structure. This is right. And cobalt has hexagonal close package. This is also right. So statement number 2 and 3 are correct. For this particular question number 122, hence we are going for the answer given by choice C. Question number 123 is talking about, consider the following statements regarding atomic radii of metals. Certain metals and their atomic radii are given. Atomic radii of tungsten, cadmium and nickel are given. Incidentally, if you observe these three metals, those of you who are having the basic understanding of periodic table from the early schooling days, Mendeleev's periodic table from the early schooling days, we all know that while studying about periodic table, you have learned one important principle. That is, as you go down the periods, right, from top to bottom of a period as you go, the atomic radius will increase. Whereas when you go from left side to right side of a group, atomic radius will decrease. This is a generalized observation within a period and within a group. Unfortunately, what has happened, the three elements which are given here are not in one period, they are not in one group. They are in different groups, they are different periods. Therefore, it is practically not possible simply by knowing the name of the elements to judge about the correctness of this answer. So, people who are having some idea, at least out of these three, if two are known by elimination process, you will be able to answer. Or otherwise, the people who are already masters of this data only will be in a position to answer. Otherwise, what happens to be done? Those people who are able to guess, at least based on their comfort with the solving of numerical problems on Hume-Rothery's rules or phase diagrams, they must be having some data information in their mind, they will be able to answer. That means more than 90% of the students will not be in a position to answer this. Then why such questions are given? For the purpose of filtration. Therefore, come back friends. So such questions need memorizing of a lot of data, which is practically not possible for many people. But for your information, I am giving you here the correct answer here. Data which is given here is correct for all the elements, right? Because that is based on our experience of the periodic table and its data. We are telling that all this data is correct for those respective elements, and therefore the correct answer for this question number 123 happens to be the one given by choice D. Question number 124 reads like this. Consider the following statements regarding perlite. Perlite is a microstructural mixture of cementite and ferrite. Yes, we all know this. Perlite is a eutectoid mixture of ferrite and cementite. Statement number 1 is right. And then statement number 2 says fine perlite is harder and stronger than coarse perlite. This is also correct. Then coarse perlite is third statement. Coarse perlite is more ductile than fine perlite. Most of the students end up with a doubt here only. How do you resolve this doubt? This doubt can be simply resolved by understanding what is the microstructural appearance of perlite. When you say perlite is a eutectoid mixture of ferrite and cementite, you know it is a lamellar mixture. We must get habituated to this type of terminology. Perlite is a lamellar mixture of ferrite and cementite. That means alternative layer structure of ferrite and cementite. Now what happens in coarse perlite? In case of coarse perlite, the plate thickness is more for ferrite and cementite. In case of fine perlite, the thickness of this particular plates is less, or layers is less. Now let us see, coarse perlite will have large or more thickness of soft ferrite than fine perlite. Now why we are talking about thickness of the soft ferrite layer? It is because ferrite layer being soft layer, it will facilitate easy movement of dislocations and ductility. That is the reason why coarse perlite is more ductile than fine perlite. As you see this particular three statements, all these statements are correct statements only. Therefore, for question number 124, the correct answer happens to be given by choice D. Now looking at the next question, 125, consider the following statements regarding anelasticity. You know what exactly happens to be the case with anelasticity? There are certain deformation processes which most of the students study, that is elastic deformation and plastic deformation. Incidentally, there are other deformation processes also. Elastic, anelastic, viscoelastic and creep deformations are the deformations. But then what is anelastic deformation? Anelastic deformation is the time dependent elastic deformation. Now normally anelastic deformation is mostly exhibited in polymers and it is exhibited very little in case of metallic materials. Let us see what are the statements given. For metals, the anelastic component is normally small because it is mostly observed in polymers. Next, in anelasticity, the deformation will continue after the stress application, and upon load release, some finite time is required to complete recovery. That is the reason why it is time dependent elastic deformation. Yes. Next, time independent elastic behavior is known as anelasticity. Time independent, right? But what exactly is anelasticity? Time dependent, right? So when you look into this particular question number 125, the statement number 3 is saying that it is time independent elastic deformation, but what it is really, it is time dependent. Therefore, we are going ahead with the statement C as the right answer for this. It's not the C. We are 1 and 2 are the right answers, so B is the right answer for this. Time independent elastic. It is not time independent, it is time dependent. Then 127. Consider the following statements regarding ductility and brittleness. Ductility is a measure of degree of plastic deformation. Yes, this is right. Amount of permanent deformation exhibited by a material up to fracture. Under action of applied tensile loads is ductility. This is correct. Statement number 1 is right, and statement number 2 says a material that experiences very little or no plastic deformation upon fracture is termed as brittle. Correct. This is also right statement. Statement number 3 says brittleness is expressed quantitatively as either permanent deformation, percentage of elongation or percentage reduction in area. Percentage elongation is normally a measure of ductility but not of brittleness. Therefore, removing this particular statement number 3, we are going ahead with the correct answer given by choice B. 1 and 2 are the correct answers for this particular question. Question number 128. Here, there are certain questions related to corrosion. Incidentally, from the topic on corrosion, which spans nearly about 1.5 or 2 hours of time, 3 questions have come this time. Statement number 1 says corrosion is defined as the destructive and unintentional attack of the metal. Correct. Statement number 1 is right. And for metallic materials, the corrosion process is normally electrochemical process. This statement is also a correct process. Next, metal atoms characteristically give up electrons in deoxidation reaction. This is wrong. Metals give up electrons in oxidation reaction. Atmospheric oxygen becomes acceptor of electrons. Metals become donor of electrons, and in the process, metal oxide layers are going to be formed in oxidation process, not in deoxidation process. Since it is given as deoxidation, statement 3 is incorrect. Only statement number 1 and 2 are correct statements for this particular question. Hence, we are going ahead with the answer as choice B. Question number 129 is also a question on corrosion again. There are certain statements given on corrosion environments. Number 1 is seawater is generally less corrosive than fresh water. Is it true? It's not. because seawater contains additional salts than even fresh water, and its conductivity is more than even normal fresh water. Where conductivity is more, where salt content is more, corrosion tendency is more, but statement number 1 is reverse of the reality. Therefore, statement number 1 is not correct. Next. Number 2, nickel, chromium, molybdenum alloys are highly corrosion resistant in seawater. Okay, this is a right answer statement. Moisture containing dissolved oxygen is the primary corrosive agent. That is the reason why in the presence of moisture, metals exhibit very little corrosion resistance than in vacuum. So which of the following statements, which of these statements are correct is the question that is put up here in question number 129. So we are saying here that in this, the moisture containing dissolved oxygen is the primary corrosive agent, right? That is statement number 3 is correct. And statement number 2, nickel alloys, they are having higher corrosion resistance in seawater. Statement number 1 is not there, only 2 and 3 are correct. The 2 and 3 are given in choice C, hence C is right answer for this question. The next question is 130. Consider the following statements regarding, again, another third question on corrosion. One of the most effective means of corrosion prevention is cathodic protection. Galvanic cell corrosion is effectively controlled by cathodic protection. Similarly, inhibitors are normally used in closed systems such as automobile radiators. Not only automobile radiators, engine frames, then the chassis. Right. Likewise, you have several such examples like the fuel systems. They are also coated with these inhibitors for want of forming a barrier film and then preventing the rust formation or corrosion due to moisture or corrosion due to heat evolved. Such matters can be controlled by using inhibitors, and then physical barriers to corrosion are applied on surfaces in the form of films and coatings. For this particular question 130, all these 3 statements are correct statements. Hence, we are going with the answer given by choice D. Next question is 148. Which of the following steps is or are utilized in the determination of the 3 directional indices in crystallographic directions? This is simply a question from Miller indices of directions. Every one of you have studied in the regular coursework of basics of crystallography about Miller indices of directions. Miller indices of directions are rationalized components of given direction vector considered along the 3 crystallographic directions x, y and z, and written in square brackets without a separating comma between them as u, as u, v, w, such type, and they are the smallest integers they are expressed. So all such statements are there in your mind. But you know what exactly has happened in this question is they have built up a lot of complexity to divert you towards a wrong answer. So, with a little amount of time and patience, if you have read these 2 statements that are given here, they are exactly matching with these definitions of Miller indices of directions. Hence, both the statements are correct statements only. That's the reason why we are proceeding with the choice D. Then there is a question number 149. In which type of bonding are the stable electron configurations assumed by the sharing of electrons between adjacent atoms? Now let us try to see this. Sharing of electrons between 2 adjacent atoms results in a stable configuration. Are you able to recollect? This type of statements are read by you when you in the topic on theory of chemical bonding. Where did you study that? In material science general studies. But the question is given in material science technical paper. All right. Let us accept the basics are basics. Whether they are studied in 7th class or material science general studies or material science technical paper. All right. Let us try to see the answer this. When sharing of electrons takes place between atoms to result in a stable electronic configuration, that results into what is called as a covalent bonding. Is the basic definition of covalent bonding and its characterization. The next question is ratio of volume of atoms in a unit cell to the total volume of the unit cell is called. This is what is called as the atomic packing factor. So simply on atomic packing factor, there are at least 2 questions in this paper. Right? So that is correct answer is given by choice A. Those are the questions from material science, and I believe that the students must have already accepted for the question related to atomic radii, which had been difficult to almost all the students. All other questions must have been successfully attempted by every one of you, and God bless you. All the best. And the next faculty follows. Thank you.
Okay, student, let's see the renewable energy part. So again, so many questions came. Okay, student, let's see the renewable energy part. So again, so many questions came from the renewable energy. Let's see one by one all the questions. So consider the following statement regarding the application of PV system. Okay, so the PV system converts solar energy directly into the electrical energy. So the statement is correct. A solar cell is basically an electrical current source driven by the flux of radiation. Yes, you can say that is also correct statement because it is driven by what? Solar energy only. The efficiency of solar cell is more than the 50%. That is actually wrong. The range is from 10 to 20%. Okay. So answer goes to 1 and 2 only. That is A is the answer. Okay. This question answer is A. Next question. Consider the following statement regarding geothermal energy. So as per the US Geological Survey, the entire heat content to the earth crust up to the depth of 2 kilometer. So it should be actually not 2 kilometer. It should be actually up to 10 kilometer. And it should be what? Above what? 10 degree, sorry, 15 degree, above 15 degrees Celsius. So that is considered as geothermal resource. So the depth above the earth, below the earth surface is how much? Approximately it's 10 kilometer, and this is what? Above 15 degrees Celsius. That energy is considered to be geothermal. It's actually a low grade energy, that is a thermal energy, low grade thermal energy. So this is wrong statement because it's written 2 kilometer and it is 20 degrees Celsius. Now, geothermal energy is considered as an inhospitable and renewable source. Yes, of course, it's a renewable source. It keeps on filling up from the core of the earth. So this is the correct statement. Geothermal energy is available in low grade thermal energy. Already I told you, this is correct statement. So 2 and 3 is correct. So 2 and 3 means answer goes to what? C. Fourth answer is C. Now number 5. Next question. Heat high temperature collector concentrates sunlight using mirrors or lenses are generally used for. So high temperature means basically high temperature application goes to what? Electricity generation. So answer goes to what? This one. Not heating swimming pool, that is a low temperature application. Heating water is also a moderate temperature application, and melting and heating means very, very high temperature. So sorry, melting and heating of the snow means that is also a low temperature application. So for high temperature application, electric power production is a better suitable option. Okay. So 5 answer is what? C. Next question. How much electricity consumption can be cut back with the installation of solar flat plate collector in any household instead of power grid geyser? Power grid geyser means whatever regular heaters you are using in your bathroom, that heater is what? Connected to the electricity connection that is connected to the grid. Okay. So it is cut to what? 20%. If you are using solar power, solar heaters, water heaters, so it will cut to what? 20%. A good amount of saving is there. Answer is what? 20%. Next, in the lifetime of the solar power plant, an interest rate, if the lifetime is given and the interest rate is given for the solar power plant, then cost per kilowatt hour means cost per kilowatt hour is what? The same unit, electricity unit, whatever we get in our electricity utility bills, that is a kilowatt hour, can be calculated and is known as. So this answer is what? Levelized energy cost. Levelized energy cost. Okay, next. Operational energy footprint, OEF, in solar thermal energy is also called as energy parasitic ratio, EPR. EPR. Okay. Number 9th. Consider the following statement regarding solar trackers. Solar tracker are what? They are basically, they track the path of apparent motion of what? Sun. So solar tracker is a generic term used to describe devices that orient the various payloads towards the sun. Payloads can be photovoltaic panels, reflectors, lenses. Yes. So 1 and 2 both are correct. What about the 3? In the flat plate panel PV application, tracker are used to maximize the, no. Not maximize the angle of incidence. It should be what? Minimize the angle of incidence. So lesser is the angle of incidence, more is the amount of solar radiation. So this is wrong actually. So 1 and 2 is correct. Answer goes to what? A. Ninth answer is Agra. Number 10th. Consider the following statement regarding photovoltaic cell. The photovoltaic cells are made of at least 2 layers of semiconductor. Yes, that is correct. When two modules are wired in parallel, their current remain constant while voltage varies. So, you know, if it is in parallel, it means the voltage will remain constant and the current will vary. Okay. So, in all the modules, the voltage will remain constant. So, answer goes to what? 1 only is the correct. That is A. A. The performance of photovoltaic modules and array under the standard test condition STC are defined by the module operating temperature, and that is how much? 250 degrees Celsius. 250 degrees Celsius is the answer. Next question. Consider the following statement regarding the basic feature that characterize lift and drag. So, you know, drag force is in the direction of A stream. Correct statement. Lift is perpendicular to the A stream. Lift devices are generally less efficient than, no, wrong statement. Lift devices are more efficient because the losses in the drag devices are more. Okay. So, answer is 1 and 2 only. That is A is the answer. Biomass gasification means incomplete combustion of biomass resulting in production of combustible gases consist of, if the gases are carbon monoxide, H2 and methane, then it goes to what? Producer gas. It's a producer gas. Next question, a formula for the speed of tidal wave in a sea of a uniform depth h0 is obtained from the shallow water theory under root g h0. Next question, consider the following statement. A fuel cell is a device that converts the chemical energy of the fuel into electricity through a chemical reaction with oxygen or another. That is the correct statement. Hydrogen is the most common fuel, but hydrocarbons such as natural gas, alcohol like methanol, yes, that is also correct statement. Electrons are drawn from the cathode to the anode. That is actually a wrong statement. If you remember the basic of fuel cell, where we supply the fuel, let us say it's H2O2 fuel cell. Suppose this is H2 and here we supply O2 and this is the external circuit here. So, and between this, let's say some electrolyte is there. Okay. So here what happens, this is called as what? Anode. This is called as, this one is called as anode and this is called as what? Cathode. So electron, whatever electrons are there, the electron move like this from what? Anode to cathode. So it is given electrons are drawn from the cathode to anode. That is wrong actually. So answer goes to what? This is wrong statement. 1 and 2 are correct. That is what? A. Fine. So this is the end of the renewable source of energy part. Okay. Thank you. Okay, student, let's see the
Students, very good evening. So this is Vijay Kumar. So we shall discuss the questions which are related to mechatronics, which were given in ESE 2026 for mechanical engineering. So fortunately you got number of questions in mechatronics, and that too basic level questions. So it is easy to answer these questions, okay? Like 1 or 2 questions require little bit of analysis. So look at this question. How many BCD numbers can be accommodated in an 8-bit register in 8085 processor? See, 8085 processor is 8-bit microprocessor. Therefore, its the registers are 8-bit registers, right? So 8-bit registers means each register will accommodate 8 bits. Okay, one flip-flop is 1 bit. So these are 8 bits, D0 to D7, right? Now he is asking how many BCD values can be accommodated. Okay, so first of all you should know what is the meaning of BCD. BCD stands for binary coded decimal. BCD stands for binary coded decimal. So decimal numbers we know 0 to 9, right? So in the processor what happens is we follow binary data, right? So for our convenience we write them in hexadecimal values, means total 16 values are there, 0 to F, right? So BCDR means only 0 to 9. 0 to 9 means how many values are this? 10 values. So if I want 10 codes, how many bits are required in the binary? Very simple, 2 power n is equals to 10. So 10 is not a power of 2. So 10 lies between what? 2 power 3 means 2 cube 8 and 2 power 4 16. So we cannot take this 3 bits, we should definitely take 4 bits. So I have to generate 10 codes, means I require minimum 4 bit of value. So if you take 0, 0 means 0 0 0 0, 1 stands for 0 0 0 1, like this. 9 stands for what? 1 0 0 1. It is very simple, it is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square and 2 cube. So BCD means binary coded decimal. So it is an 8-bit register. So 2 BCD means 0 to 9 only. So I can store 2 values, right? So this is for one, this for another. So you can store one BCD here and another BCD here. So how many BCD values can be stored? 2 BCD values can be stored. So the correct answer is B, option B, right? Next one. In a system, peripheral I/O becomes essential if the memory requirement is. Now tell me, here what is the meaning of peripheral I/O? See, there are 2 types of methodologies to give addresses to the I/O devices. One is called as memory mapped I/O, other one is called as I/O mapped I/O. That I/O mapped I/O is also called as peripheral mapped I/O, right? So if you take 8085 processor, 8085 microprocessor is an 8-bit processor. It has got 16 address lines. Total address lines are 16. N is equals to 16. So the maximum memory that can be interfaced or connected to this processor 8085 is 2 power n is equals to n. So this n indicates number of address lines and capital N indicates number of addresses of the memory. Therefore, if I write as a power of 2, 2 power 16 is equals to 2 power 6 into 2 power 10. That is equal to simply 64. 2 power 10 is 1k. It means 64 kilo addresses are possible. If I take each memory location can accommodate 1 byte of value, it can be total of 64 kilobytes of memory, right? So now he says, like for this particular processor, let us say I have to connect the IO device also, right? I have to connect the input output device also. If I have all the addresses, means if I have all the 64 kilo addresses, starting address will be 00H in hexadecimal form. If I write the last address, it will be FFF, right? So these are the total 64,000 kilo addresses, means 65,536 addresses, right? If I use all the addresses for only memory, there is no address for the IO device, but the processor can communicate with the input device, output device or memory, anything with the same 16 lines only. I don't have any address. Therefore, when the application is large, we require more number of applications, so more programs, more data, more temporary data, everything, stack, everything is required. Interrupt service routines are required. Therefore, if the total memory that is required for the application is 64 KB, then we don't have any address for the IO device. Then we give a separate 8-bit address for the input output device. That is called as peripheral IO. So now tell me, in systems peripheral IO becomes essential if memory requirement is 64 KB. For example, if total memory is required for only memory applications like storing programs, data, stack memory, temporary data, these all things, right? So then we don't have address for the IO device. Then we give the 8-bit address for the IO device. That is called as IO mapped IO. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Memory map means if application is small, then I don't require 64 KB. I may require less than that. So remaining addresses among these variations can be used for the IO devices also. So that is the reason. That is called as memory mapped IO. Memory mapped IO is used when the application is small. IO mapped IO or peripheral IO is used when the application is large. Okay, right. So the correct answer is option A. Did you understand? Right. Next one. A dial gauge is used to measure the pressure in a vessel. The readings are 7 kilonewton per square meter for a dial reading of 0 and 31 kilonewton per meter square for reading of 120. If the variation is linear, what is the value of pressure for a dial reading of 90? It is a basic level question for the pressure. So for example, if I take the relation like this, so 0 and 120. At 0, what is the pressure, he says? At 0 the pressure is 7, okay, the pressure is 7, and at 120 the pressure is some 31, right? So now if I take at 120 31, at 0 it is 7, right? For example, something like this, okay, right? Now he is telling you have to just find out what is the pressure at this value, something around here, let us say something around 90. At this particular dial reading, what is the pressure he is asking? So just find out the slope, okay, find out the slope. What is the slope here? So 31 minus 7 by 120 minus 0. What is the value you get? How much it is? 24, okay, 24 by 120. So if you calculate, you'll get some 0.2 kilonewton per square meter, okay, that is the value you get. So now what is the pressure? So what is the that is a slope you get, sorry, it is slope, right? 1 minute, it is slope. It is slope, right? From this one, he is asking about what is the pressure at the dial reading for 90. So the pressure is given as some 7 plus the slope value, whatever it is, into the dial reading. Okay, so therefore 7 plus 0.2 into how much it is? 90. So it is simply, what's the value here? So this is the pressure only, you'll get the pressure only. So how much it is? If you calculate this one, you'll get 25 kilonewtons per, yeah. So you'll get approximately 25 kilonewtons. So 7 plus 18. So this is 7 plus 18. You'll get 25 kilonewtons per square meter. Okay. So this is how you got the value. Okay. This slope is this one, and at dial gauge of this one, you'll get the result. So option C will be the correct answer. Is it understood? Yeah. So this is the value you got. So pressure is simply given as that 7 plus there's some relation between this one. So this is our answer. Okay. Right. Next one is, consider the following statement regarding LVDT, accelerometer. The point is accelerometer. So what is this LVDT? Linear variable differential transformer, right? So this is a measure for what? Accelerometer. So now, what are the features of this one? So generally this LVDT, he is asking which one of the above statements are true. It has low natural frequency. See, LVD, see, if you observe the options, low natural frequency, no error occurs due to moving contacts. So that is true. This one is true. It is used in low frequency measurement. That is also true. But observe the first one. So there is no link for this low natural frequency. That is wrong. It is not used for that. So the correct options are 2 and 3. Because in linear variable differential transformer, there won't be errors due to the moving contacts. So here the answer is the which one? No error occurs due to the moving contacts. Okay, that is 2 and 3 is the correct answer. Okay, so C should be the correct answer for this. Which one of the following is an analog input device? See, here there are different devices, analog input device. If you look at these devices, potentiometer is used for the measurement of resistance. So that is analog only, that is true. Let us check whether other is true or not. We should check the most correct one. So pressure switch. So pressure switch is this is the digital, this is not correct. Temperature switch, that is also not that correct. And encoder is meant for reducing the number of lines in the digital circuits. So this is also not correct. So the correct one is A. So that is potentiometer, because it is analog only. Everything is analog here. The next question, 84, which one of the following device is used for switching AC voltages and acts as a two-way SCR with one gate connected to the output unit? So triac, so here there are different components given here. So relay output is, see, there are different types of outputs. You can have digital output, or you can have the through some transistors, or you can have some relay outputs. Okay, so these relay outputs are useful to control the high currents by very small currents. That is different. But here he is talking especially about the SCR. SCR stands for silicon control rectifier. It is a semiconducting component. Okay, so now here transistor output unit. So transistor is for DC. No, it's not correct. But this concept of silicon control rectifier is with with respect to AC we talk. Okay, so this is not the correct one. And triac output. So what? This is the correct answer. DAC means digital to analog converter. This is not having any relation here. So triac is the correct answer, but relay is not for this purpose, because triac is formed by combination of two SCRs. So the concept here is, this is the circuit symbol of the triac. For example, say it has got a gate signal here, it has got a gate signal, and this is some anode 2, or we can say terminal 2, anode 2, and this is anode 1, anode 1. So this is called as gate terminal. Okay, gate terminal. So what is the advantage of this gate terminal? So to switch on, it is used like it's a semiconductor component. It has got the feature like it can be controlled by very small gate pulses. Okay, gate pulses. So once the gate is given with some pulse, it is used like a switch. It can, once it is conducted, it will be conducting on both the directions, right? Bidirectional switch we can say. So therefore what happens here is that it can be switched on very easily by giving a small input of gate. But once it is switched on, so actually why it is used? So it is used for like certain applications like dimming the light, switching on the AC motors to control the AC motors and all alternating current motors, AC motors. Similarly, there are several applications for this one. So here triac means it is the triode for using in the alternating current application, AC applications. So it is formed by two SCRs, but here the gate control is used. So for example, to switch on, it is very easily switched on by giving a small impulse at the gate. But the thing is, to switch off, once it is switched on, to switch off, once the current passing through it comes less than the holding current, automatically it is switched off. So no need to switch off separately. That is the meaning. So if the holding current, if there is a current is passing in through this particular switch, if it is less than the holding current, automatically it is switched off. That is advantage. So that is why here SCR means silicon control rectifier. This is a circuit symbol. Two SCRs are used, and which can conduct in both the directions once it is switched on. So that is the concept of this particular triac. So option is C. Next one, what is the force needed to apply a piston of 2 centimeters radius in order to result a force of 8,000 newtons at the working piston of radius? So it is simply like a concept of Pascal's law, basic conventional Pascal law. So force, you know, this is force. There are two forces. Force per area 1 is equals to force per area 2, right? So if you observe here, the piston force is directly proportional to the area, right? So here it is with respect to the area. So here the radius is given for that particular piston. So it means the area is directly proportional to square of this particular R, radius of this particular disc. Therefore, I have to find out, this one is given, 2 centimeters is given, this is also given, 8,000 is given, and this is given as 8 centimeters. This is also given. So he is asking what is the value of this force 1. So very simple, F1 is equals to F2 into A1 by A2. So F2 is already given 8,000 into A1. What is the value of A1 already given? So A is directly proportional to R square. So 2 square is 4 by 8 square is 64. So if you solve this one, so it is 4 1 the 4 16s are 61 are 500. So this is simply 500 newtons. So the answer is option D. Option D. Next one, a current flowing in a conductor such as a beam is deflected by a magnetic field. This effect is called as Hall effect. This is a very definition of Hall effect. So for example, in a magnetic field, when a current carrying conductor is there, which is perpendicular to both magnetic field and the current, then some voltage is induced in that particular circuit. So that is called a Hall voltage. It's a direct concept. Okay. Okay. So it's a direct definition of Hall effect. Okay. So these all are not correct. So don't get confused like beam is given. Actually it's a conductor, current is flowing like a beam. That's what we need to understand. Okay, don't get confused for this. So these all are not correct. Okay, fine. So this Hall effect is used for certain purposes. It can be used for thickness. There are different purposes for this one. So that is about the Hall effect. Next one. Yeah, DCV as a processing element can generate or cancel or redirect signals depending on the desired control conditions, and a processing element is normally known as. See, what is the meaning of DCV? DCV stands for directional control valve. Okay, so the name itself says it controls the direction. controls the direction. So he is telling all the definition of that. Okay, so here the directional control valve, why it is used? It is used in the pneumatics and hydraulics. So in the hydraulics, whenever certain flow should be controlled by using certain actuators like cylinders and all, motors and all. So here how it is controlling? So here a flow control valve, it is saying that it can generate or cancel or redirect the signals depending on the desired conditions. Okay, desired control conditions. So this is used in the directional flow to control the flow of the fluid, right? So therefore flow control valve is not for that. Okay, so he is asking all the purposes. So non-written valve, that is also wrong, this is also wrong. Logical, what is logical valve? You can perform AND operation, OR operation, these are all different type of operations. Matlab, for example, say if you have one input and two outputs, or the output should be present only when two inputs are there, these all are logical conditions. So this logical valve is the correct one, because it is used for different purposes, not for only one. Okay, so for example, take NOT gate. NOT gate input is 0 means output is 1, output input is 1 means output is 0, just simply complementing. So it is doing everything, so it is a logical valve, it is not pressure control valve. Is it clear? These are all for single purposes, but this one is a multi-purpose. So that is directional control valve used in hydraulics and pneumatics. Okay, yeah. So these are the different type of questions. I hope these number of questions, there were good number of questions in mechatronics. If you know the basic concepts, I hope definitely you would have done very well. So thank you, this session is completed. We have discussed all subjects on behalf of Made Easy, so you can check your answers how far you have done well. So all the best, may God bless you. Thank you so much for your patient listening.